Evening, one and all, and welcome to Greyhound Watchalong, our first double meeting, Romford and Limerick tonight. I'm joined by PL and Greyhound writer Barry Cool. Welcome, Barry.
Thanks a million, guys. Delighted to be involved in the show tonight. It looks like it's going to be a tremendous show. Some of the racing from Limerick and, of course, the Friday night fair from Romford. So really looking forward to it.
Absolutely. We were just speaking off air, so they're two fairly tough betting cards, aren't they?
Yeah, you can say that again. Like usually you'd have one or two that you'd be pretty strong on, but look, it's interesting enough. The deeper I had to dig, you come up with a couple of you see there's a bitch running in an A3 later on who raced against Romana Bucco in one of our early races, so if she can come back to any sort of a form, she'd have a big chance. So you have to dig deep to try and find a winner, but hopefully we've a couple found for later on.
Yeah, good absolutely. Man. What do you make of it, PL?
Yeah, I thought it was tricky enough, and I wasn't particularly strong on anything, but I've got a couple of fans, and we had a bit of a chat off air, and we kind of see things fairly similar, Tom. So let's hope that the heads together syndrome works, because it worked last time. We had a small profit last time, didn't we?
And that is rare. That is very rare on the Greyhound.
We had a small profit. It could be that the Matchbook Association. It could be a sign of things to come, going in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. Tremendous early place here by Alan Southern. Evening, chaps. Good to see you back. Good to see you too, Alan. We'll try and read out as many of the comments as we can tonight. Those that we can't be sued for, of course. But it's a busy old show tonight with two meetings. Usual, we have got a sign-up code with Matchbook if you want to bet with us or lay all of our fancies, which I'm sure some may take that approach. The code is Watchalong. Back your first winner, I think 1.8 or above. If it loses, you get £30 back as a free bet. One more thing, if you're watching live, if the delay is more than 4 seconds, just refresh your browser. It shouldn't be any more than 4 seconds. It's your internet. We're not to blame if it's any longer than that. Barry's back.
Sorry, I lose you there for a minute. I thought somebody was playing like rare piano music in the background. I'm saying I'll just play it cool, and hope I come back in. But hopefully you can hear me there now. Sorry about that.
Rarely have a musical interlude.
I had to put 50p in the meter, as they say. Pay as you go.
Yeah. No, they've got a third meeting on tonight. We've got a bit of toaster as well.
Yeah.
A few Derby trial stakes.
Yeah, was Dean serious? Was he not one of the fancies for the Derby? Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, last year I think he was.
He's a big price there tonight. Mick O'Donovan has gone over with a couple of dogs. Are they trialing tonight, or is it before racing on Sunday?
No, I think it's Sunday. I think it's Sunday. I think he's got 3, Barry, before racing. I'm pretty confident.
I think he'd originally down for 4, but like you'd give your left arm for any one of the 4, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Like they're all top class. A couple of the cool of any dogs, and Skywalker Barry as well. Like what a team that is.
Yeah. I was just trying to find the trial sheet, but yeah, I mean, it's one of those things now. It's just it definitely is a thing that happens every year now, that the Irish come over with a stack full of really, really good quality dogs that you think they're going to win it this year because of the quality that they fetch over. I mean, I think Buckley's got a tremendous team. Gleeson always fetches a couple, obviously. Hennessy and
Holland.
Graham Holland is just phenomenal team generally. So, but even so, you get even when the Call of Honey Beach came over for Noel, it was.
There you go, yeah. We haven't even mentioned Brendan Matthews yet with the team he has.
Yeah, and Brendan as well. Yeah, so it's. I mean, the little bitch in the maiden derby is flying. So
wide open, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. I love it, and I think the fact you see the dogs trial as well. It's a massive bonus, isn't it? When you can see the stream on YouTube and see the dogs trial. So it's good.
Of course it is. Yeah. What's top of the English list? Probably Cool of Any Shadow at the moment. Is he?
He's out of the. Mate, he's got. He's got a hairline stress fracture. Sorry, of the meta.
So that's him gone, yeah.
I think the metacarpal or the metatarsal. The other fellow we didn't mention, obviously, I think now will be favourite is Explosive Boy and Guildfall. He always comes over with the mean dog. So I think he's got 2 or 3 dogs will come over.
Yeah, he does. I think Magical Cuba would be probably more suited to Towser than he will.
Yeah.
Limerick. So he always has a good team, And Explosive Boy, like there was word he wasn't 100% right in the Derby last year, and I think that's quoted of saying that if it wasn't the Derby, he wouldn't have ran him past the quarter-final stage,
Yeah.
So to see what he's still done, and if he wasn't 100% right, look,
he's fast dog. Fast dog.
Do
you know, I read as well. I don't know whether you can confirm this, Barry. That the owner is an Aussie guy, or he lives in Australia. He was going to. I thought he was going to go to Australia.
I'm not too sure about that. I don't know what the quarantine rules are like anymore going to Australia. There used to be a big hold up when you sent a dog over, wasn't it? Months and months to take him out of quarantine. So
David Mitchell will be a man for that because he knows all about that sort of stuff.
I think years ago there was months and months of quarantine before you couldn't just rock up on a Friday and run on a Monday. That way, even in a trial. So I don't know if it's a viable option. I haven't seen a dog do it in a long time. Go from England to Australia or Ireland to Australia. But he's a Dublin. I don't know the man. He's a Dublin owner or Dublin, originally from Dublin, but living in Australia.
Yeah, gotcha.
He's another dog running on the card tonight in Limerick. Actually, it's down as Peter Sutcliffe, and it's not with Paco Foyle. It's with the name escapes me of the trainer. Not one of the bigger known trainers, but he does have a couple of runners with other kennels around.
Ah, gotcha.
So I'll see can I route that out for you. I'm waiting for the non-runners to come through for the Limerick, so we should have them through shortly enough.
Who won the race at Toasted, Tom?
I was doing the Twitter. I didn't watch it.
The rain said 3, whoever 3 was.
A Toaster.
Droopy's good time. Richard Reese. And Richard had the dog got beat, didn't he, in the first one? Burnchurch Mick got beat. He got
chinned.
Chinned by Chelms Road.
Yeah. He's
a quick dog, that Burnchurch Mick, yeah.
He is, yeah. He's got plenty of early Barry, hasn't he? Yeah.
George, yeah. I seen him he won a competition at Monmore there recently, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, was it the Gold Cup, Tom? Monmore Gold Cup, I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, he's got some good speed. Yeah, got good speed. He looks like he's probably improved a little bit as well. But it's one of those, I suppose, the early birds, and you might just needed the run tonight. But I think 500 is probably as far as he wants to go.
Yeah.
And again, then you got to do it over 5 rounds at top pace as well. So
what's Thompson?
I would say a lot of people wouldn't want to be drawn inside him. Put it that way.
No, without a doubt. It's 3 weeks this weekend for the kick-off of the Derby, is it?
Yeah. I mean, it's less than 3. I think maybe it's 3.5 weeks, something like that. I think it's just less than 4 weeks. I think when it starts.
What do you prefer to watch, Barry? The English or the Irish Derby?
Look, I'd be more involved in the Irish Derby as I'd be in there for nearly all of the rounds, of course. And it's like I've been in Shelbourne since I was a pup, I suppose. That way. So I'd much rather Shelbourne. Like I commend what Kevin Bilby's doing with Toaster. He's putting the money in, but I just can't get a read on the track. I just struggle as a punting perspective to get a read on it. That way. It's very tricky, and it's not something like other tracks you can say you can pinpoint it. Like I think if you're not in the first 3, you can say you have no chance. But with Toaster, I just can't pinpoint what it is I'm struggling with, that way. But that's not to say I won't get involved in the anti-post market and in every heat as well. But
it's impossible not to get involved once it starts. Some years I think I'm indifferent to it, but I watch it every night, every single night. It's mesmerising.
And it's accessible nowadays as well. Years ago it wasn't picked up maybe until the quarterfinal with Sky or maybe the semi-final, and then
very, very true.
But you're much more involved from an earlier stage. Now, even with the maiden derby now, there's some of these coming out of this, and as Paul mentioned, you can see the trials on YouTube. So you're already engrossed in it before it actually starts. So
exactly.
So why wouldn't you get involved?
Yeah, absolutely. Right, let's have a look at this race. We have, of course, we might need it today. We've got the race approaching Claxon, which we hit when we go off on a tangent and need to talk about the race. But we'll see if we need it tonight.
Someone's in charge of that.
I'm looking out the window, looking for a 40-foot truck there for a second.
That's it, yeah.
So, a challenging one to start us off.
Yeah, I'm going to side with It's Your Best Mate in 6. He's a fine winner the time before last in an A2 company. I think he should lead up 5 here. Faithful Frankie. My Blue Jet was a little disappointing last week for me. Did miss the break. We had plenty of room to operate after that. It didn't show an awful lot. Glenside Sydney ran well the time before last. He should lead up 2. I suppose a repeat gives him chances, but I think it's between 6 and 3, and I'll take a chance with 6 to make all. It's Your Best Mate for me.
It's Your Best Mate, Paul Young Dog. Me and Paul Lawrence talking before racing. The Paul Young dogs tend to run quite well when the sun comes out. That few weeks when the sun comes out, they run quite well. There's a well-drawn one later in the night that we quite fancy. So, I think that's a good angle. Pierre, what do you fancy in this race?
I thought it was as tough could be. I didn't really know. Some of these, I think, are quite inconsistent greyhounds as well. I just favoured one, but I really no strong opinion here. It's a winner of 1, isn't it? Standard. So greyhounds mustn't have won more than 1 open race, which probably means they've won a maiden, which could be varying degrees of quality. So I just sided with John Mullins' Sonic Vegas. He has been switched from. I didn't check this actually, but I know he's got a dog from Stuart Tyre, and Kelly McCarry's in with the Stuart Tyre kennel, and she owns down as owners with Mark Bates. So I'm assuming that that this has come from Newcastle.
It has, It's done all its running at Newcastle, and
again, John could find that as long as Sonic Vegas has settled in okay, she could find a little bit of improvement really. So I thought she had a fair draw because, like Barry said, my Blue Jet doesn't really break that well. Probably move off a little bit as well. So might have a little bit of room to operate from.
Yeah, I agreed. Based on not particularly fancying anything, I thought taking a chance on one at a bit of value wasn't a bad proposition. Greenside Sydney is a decent sort, and wouldn't be surprised if ended up winning it. It's Your Best Mate, only wide runner in the race. Capable of doing a good time. Got a 24-23 on the card, which would, I think, comfortably win this race. But based on recent form, it's difficult to strongly fancy that or really strongly fancy anything else in the race.
Are we playing here, Tom, or not?
I think a watching brief for this one.
Yeah, okay.
Keep our powder dry.
Okay. Hare is on the move for the 3rd race on the card at Romford, our first of the evening. Good luck with your bets. Up go the lids and off from racing, and 3 down the middle. Greenside Sydney goes to the front, just in front of Russian Dancer. Up on the outside then comes It's Your Best Mate as they turn out the second bend, and 3 Greenside Sydney is away and gone here, some 4 lengths clear from It's Your Best Mate, who's now moved into second spot round the last 2 turns, and 3 starting to paddle here. 6 looming large off the last turn and up towards the judge. 3 all out. Greenside Sydney on the near side, didn't quite get there. It's Your Best Mate. Well done to Barry there. Sussed that one right out.
Are we sure? The Romford camera angle?
Yeah, I think 3 beat 6.
Yeah. 6 ran also wide off the last bend there.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a trait of his. Wouldn't be too familiar with the dog, but he was going a fair clip, all right. And
yeah, he cut in at the 3rd, and he looked like he was going to close on 3, didn't he? And then
he did. Actually, I thought he was going to go up the inside of 3 coming off the last bend, but
it's rare to see a dog lose a race around Romford from this kind of position that's currently in the 3. But 6 has shown tremendous bit of pace there. It's really got loose off the 4th turn.
I thought Romford underwent building works a couple of years ago, and I always thought the angle of the line would improve. It's something that hasn't really improved. It's still tricky enough there, isn't it?
No, yeah. I mean, what's that? 3 parts of a length, probably, maybe a half. But everyone complains about it. But apparently, that's the best angle that they could come up with.
you get used to it, I suppose, don't you?
No,
kind of. Oh. you learn to live with it. It's. I fractured my rib last year playing football, and had to sleep on the other side for ages. It took about 10 months to recover from it, and you learn to live with it. And a fractured rib is the Romford camera angle.
Yeah, it's not good. I have one of those myself.
It's uncomfortable. There's always pain, But it is what it is. You've just got to accept your fate.
I did call one
Until-
wrong though, Barry, when we did it. We did one Friday night, didn't we, Tom? And you fancied one strong, and I was willing it on for him. Really,
Yeah.
came from off the back, led off the last, and something came and joined it on the line, but I called it the winner, and it got chinned.
So we love doing that. We purposely wait for Ian Fortune to make a mistake. Like, he commentates in so many races every week, and as soon as he makes a mistake, we're straight in on top of him. You know that way. How did you get that one wrong? You know that way.
Yeah.
But in fairness, I've done a few nights in there in Shelbourne for myself on the where you're commentating from. You're actually on the 600-yard line, more or less. So you're sort of looking to 25
Looking
yards
back the ways,
yeah. So it's not easy, you know.
Yeah,
it's not easy.
No, I mean, listen, I was a race manager at Crayford for 10 years, and they were always a big advocate. If it's close, just call it close. You know, don't play the big one, and just take your time. And that's kind of stayed with me quite a lot. And I never really get too bullshit, and rather go it's tight than say so and so's beaten so and so. But on that occasion, I think it was towards the end of the night. And I was willing it on for Tom, and I was convinced it had won. And then a couple of the other lads went, "You sure that's won, Bill?" I went, "Yeah." And then when the freeze ran, I thought, "No, it hasn't." Yeah.
Yeah, but you get nothing. You're only putting your hand out to be slapped there by calling something. You know? Just say photo. You know, just say photo. There's an awful annoying habit in Shelbourne Park when it's a photo. Like, everybody knows it's a photo, and for some reason the judge then waits maybe 30 seconds and will say, "Result of race 5. A photo," and we know it's a photo, you know? It happens every night of the week, you know that way. And you're waiting, and then they say result, and they call the result as a photo. So it's quite annoying, you know that way. Everybody knows it's a photo.
Barry, how did you first get into greyhound racing?
I've been in my family for years, like right back to the 50s and 60s, and they were always there, you know that way. And ever since I was born at home, there was dogs in my mum's, dogs in auntie's houses, and because we'd only ever have 2 or 3 dogs. We wouldn't have a big place, so there'd be dogs scattered all over the place, you know that way. But everybody in the family would have a greyhound or 2. So even into, I suppose, then in the early 2000s, we were lucky enough to have a blood bitch called Joe Surprise, and I think we bred her to Rapid Ranger. Actually, we took a chance when he was one of his, when he first went to stud. We took a chance, and she'd a fabulous sitter. I think it's actually the best litter Rapid Ranger had. If you look at on Greyhound Data, they were fantastic. I think 3 of them got to the semi-finals of the Comerford Cakes back in 2002, 2003, and she went on to have maybe 25 or 30 pups, and you just get them at 13, 14 months old, give them a hand slip, sprint 5-5, and within a couple of weeks they were Shelbourne Park Saturday night dogs. You know that way. That went on from maybe till about 2010, and it's been tough since then. You know that way.
Yeah.
You just really do. When you have a bitch like that, you just take it for granted, and it's
that's the thing. Yeah,
it's not that easy, you know. So we're still trying to find the next half decent one, but we have a couple knocking around, and it's just for a bit of sport, you know.
Yeah. Good. And you are from Dublin area, yeah?
Yeah, from Dublin. I'm only about 10 minutes from the airport.
Gotcha.
That's all. About 25 minutes from Shelbourne Park, so quite local to there. Harrow's Cross would have been our main track. It's but that's closed now. So.
Oh no, I used to love going to Harold's Cross. I used to love it.
It's a shame.
Derby weekend, Friday night, Harold's Cross, man, the big night.
Well, the Shelbourne sales always used to be at Harold's Cross, didn't they, Barry?
That's right. Yeah, they had a big sales.
I used to love
there.
that.
Yeah,
Me and Lorraine used to go there all the time. I just loved the crack of going over there because at that stage I was sort of punting at Romford, so I'd be clocking to the third bend to get the early birds, you know, and try and fetch them back for cheapy money for graders at Romford. Yeah,
I used to love that in the sales. There was supposed to be a certain sweet spot down at the third bend where the third bend clock used to be, you know that way. But everybody you'd be upstairs watching the sales trials, and you'd hear the stopwatches, and there'd be about 2 seconds in the difference with the beeps, you know that way. Beep beep beep. So nobody knew exactly where they. I suppose people timed them to their own sections, but losing Harold's Cross was a big blow. The sales, as you say, over there was great, and the thing nowadays for owner trainers like ourselves, like if you have a dog who wins an A3 in Shelbourne Park, like you could get the track on a good night and he wins an A3 and then maybe 28.70, and you're up to open race then, and trying to win an open race in Shelbourne Park, it's near impossible, you know that way.
Yeah.
Like I had a dog finish 5th, a poor 5th in an A4 on last Friday night, and he's gone up to A3 now, you know that way. He finishes 5th in an A4, and because he gets towed around in a fairly decent time, he goes up to A3. So
Yeah.
look, Harold's Cross served its purpose for that. If like he could win an A3 next week, he could win an A2. But in Shelbourne, it's very, very hard to do. You know,
Yeah.
the dogs that are in there are just they're top class. You know, so it's very, very
Yeah.
hard to win a couple in a row. But we'll keep on trying.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a short price jolly-ish in 6 here, Toaster.
Towchester.
Is it Toaster or Towchester? It's the
It's
same with
Toaster.
Toaster.
Toaster, yeah.
And what about Southwell or Southall?
Well,
Southall, isn't it?
Southall. I used to always say Southall, and then the journalist that works with that.
yeah, they changed. Yeah,
Mapletoft.
it got. I must admit, I always used to say Southall, but apparently it is Southwell. But
No. Well, every day's a school day.
But there you go. I only got it from Simon Mapletoft. He said that he lives in Southwell. His kids go to Southwell school, and he goes to Southwell Church. No, it's not Southall. It's Southwell. So
yeah.
So there you go.
My wife's American, and when we met, she was fresh off the boat, and her pronunciation of place names was a source of constant amusement. Peterborough was my favourite, which was Peterborough.
Peterborough, yeah. But it's like you guys in England, Shelbone. An awful lot of these are Shelbone Park, and to us it would be like Shelbourne. You know that way.
Never in my life have I heard that.
I hear quite a few people say it's Shelburne.
It is, yeah, Shelbourne.
In Ireland.
Shelbourne, yeah. But some of the English call it Shelbone. Shelbourne, yeah.
Shelbourne, yeah.
Shelbourne, yeah. But Shelbourne is in like a fire.
Yeah.
But call it what you like, whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
That's the thing, yeah.
I've done a trip with Darren Holmes, Carol Weatherall, bringing a dog over for a race at Shelbourne, and it is the most brutal 36 hours of human tolerance. you've got to drive all the way to Wales, and you get to the edge of Wales, and you think I'm nearly at the port. Fucking nowhere near the port. Try the entire journey again, and then you've got the choppy boat where you just feel sick the whole time. And then you're in early, just hanging around the stadium. And then, unless you've got a really, really early race, you end up on the ferry at like 4 a.m. or something. Yeah. And you've got to sit in the van, which, the seats don't go back because it's a van. I consider getting in the back with the dogs, just getting in a cage and curling up. Yeah. And then, back in the afternoon with no sleep, it's tough going. And also, it's the same opposite way for the trainers. 6-1 well there.
Lorraine just commented there because she's listening in. What about Turleys?
Yeah, an awful lot of people would call it thurls.
Yeah. I would call it thurls. Am I wrong?
Yeah. You are wrong. I used to work as a telebet agent many moons ago, and an awful lot of English people would ring up and they'd be looking to place a bet in the next race at thurls. And where?
I hope you corrected them.
Oh, sorry, thurless. Yeah. But we get there in the end, you know. We get there in the end.
But they actually the Irish kind of dropped the third bit. They called it Turles, didn't they?
Tortoise, yeah. The H is gone, yeah. Tortoise, yeah. So you just get used to it, you know. But I remember as a telebit agent talking to a fellow with a deep, deep Scottish accent, and we must have spent 90 seconds on the phone before he got his selection out. And I just said to him at the end of it, I said, "Sorry, I apologise." I said, "It's an Irishman talking to a Scotchman in English." I said, "But we got there eventually."
Yeah. I used to own dogs with a guy called Mark McLaughlin. We had a lot of success with the Roxhome dogs, and I used to have to go to Mark sometimes. Whoa! You need to say that again because I didn't hear any of that. You need to slow down. You need to slow down, and because I think obviously when you've got the same accent, you understand the kind of the little nuances of an accent when you've got the same accent. When and I suppose you talk quicker as well. And I had to say, "Whoa, you need to slow down, man," because I didn't get that one.
Go again, yeah.
And then he put his posh Edinburgh voice on, and I could understand him.
6:58 Romford, another tough race.
Yeah, put for Annie. You must talk about them put for dogs. I haven't seen them, but there seems to be a lot of them on the card later on. Did take her 6 starts to win, but she looks a bit of a strong runner. She lacks a bit of early pace in this for me.
Just a bit.
Just a bit, yeah. Kildallan Prince 24.78. That won't be good enough to win this, will it? I wouldn't
Shouldn't
have
be, yeah.
thought so. And
No.
I give 5 a chance here. Greyhound Desi, good win in A2 in March. I think he ran slightly better than the placing suggests last week. He got in a small bit of trouble, and I'd go with him for Paul Young. That's 2 for Paul Young. I'm going for. Hopefully, he can go one better than the last
The
race.
6 is very short.
Yeah, got a fair bit of early in kind of D1s and A2s at Yarmouth, but probably wants more lane. I mean, seeded middle, but wants probably more lane 3 or 4 really. And so you're gonna have to get it double right to get right across this field. I would have thought, but I think even put Ferrani though might be moving into sort of lane 2. I think they're all going to go across here. That's the thing. So I was a bit scratching my head what would actually happen here. So
I was trying. We'll go for a fun 5er on put Ferrani. I think Villamora Jet is quite unexposed and quite open to a bit of improvement. So I think that's worth a few quid unless anyone objects.
Oh, it's been beaten favourite last 3 times, so it must be showing something somewhere. And very well backed, actually. Yeah,
we're matched, which is nice to see.
So what about these put for dogs? I see quite a few of them on this. Is this
just a syndicate, put for syndicate.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that when they get their dogs, they just change the names, Barry. You know, so, because they're different breeding. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen it before, but I've seen quite a few of them the last couple of weeks. So
yeah,
wish them all the best.
My Derby runner-up Early Impact, I was only able to buy because his name couldn't be changed.
Really?
Yeah, he was at Paul Young's kennels, and the owner wanted to sell him, and got offered to a few people, and he'd had 2 name changes before. I think he was called what was he called? I can't remember. Because he'd already had a name change, he couldn't be changed again, and got refused by everyone. So he got offered up to me.
Oh, blimey.
Fate. He's still going, bless him. Is he? He's a good age. Yeah. He's 10 now.
Oh, he must be, yeah.
Lives with my mum.
I've got a lad indoors warning over. He'd be, I think he's 11 now. Coming up 11 this month or next month. He was a syndicate dog. Actually, I think Alan Southern, who came in, he was part of him. He was about 16 of us through Racing Post TV. We got a syndicate. I organised a syndicate, and a lot of lads came in. You kind of, it's amazing how you can meet people like that through Twitter and Racing Post TV and stuff like that. It's very
One day we'll probably have a watch-along dog.
Let's hope so.
Yeah.
I'll get a text in a minute from Lorraine. Don't you dare. Here we go. Heat 1 then of the Friday Night Maidens. They're approaching. And away and racing. 5 gets a smart start. Greyhound Desi looking to clear into the turn. Got a bit messy. All 6 got battered there. And up on the inside, cold calling goes on. From Lakeview Unite down the far side. They're clear then of Kildallan Prince. And as they reach the 3rd turn, the blue jacket of 2 is a length and a half clear. Cold calling from Lakeview Unite, trying to pick up in behind his Kildallan Prince. As they turn for the judge, 2 getting tired. 1 zipping up on the inside. Tight. Possibly just cold calling, holding on. From Lakeview Unite. We'll leave that to the judge.
Just a bad race.
Yeah, got to be. Kildallan Prince, I said, would be going across it. They all got squeezed, didn't they, really?
They did. Yeah. Very, very messy at that first bend. It's one of those. If you were putting a Trixie together at home, this race would not have featured in it.
No.
I kind of regret playing, but you just want to.
Well, look,
you want to shake it off, don't you? Get going.
That's the thing.
I want to get going. Hopefully Barry will return and we've not offended him. Don't think we said anything too terrible.
Especially as the first. He's probably getting on the first race at Limerick, isn't
he? Yeah, could well be. Talk about Ben Green, another great decision by the IBG closing the cross. Yeah, it was a real shame.
Yeah.
Okay. They come quick. They come fast now, don't they? We've got the 7:14 from Limerick and the 7:18 from Romford.
Right. we might play in this race. Am I right, Tom? In the 7:18 at Romford, we said we might be against. Actually, Barry's back. Looking at the next at Romford, Stories Direct. Have you looked at his form recently?
I mean, like recently, like he was second behind Jack's Little Thing in the unraced stake in Clonmel, and after that he went to, I think he went to the, where did he go to? He went to the Laurels in Cork, and back after that he went to Shelbourne Park, and he raced against the likes of Swords Maestros, Droopy's Good, Skywalker Barry, Serene Ace, etc., etc. Now he's gone over to England. His form hasn't been half as good as it was when he was in Ireland, but if he can get back to that sort of form, no disrespect to the others, but he should really pick these up and carry them. I know Bowler and Frankie in 2 looks the solid option. 5, Spikuza also qualified well in Ireland, and you could take a look at him. But look, if Stories Direct, he got back to his form, he'd take all the beating in the world.
You're right. Obviously, he was in the Maiden Derby, and Stories Pee Wee is absolutely flying. I think he's probably taken better, and obviously, Tom's got an affiliation with Nathan Hunt, and we probably should have found out what the story is with Stories Direct, really, but he just doesn't appear. His trials are okay-ish.
I'll text Nathan.
He was disappointing. I mean, listen, we wouldn't have expected him to beat Cooler Valley Shadow, but he was kind of disappointing, really. He missed a kick mine, but even going to Perry Bar, that was disappointing. And the 20, with the greatest respect, Barry, 24.65 at Romford, you expect him to go better.
Sparta Master, it's not a great run either, is it?
No, you'd expect him to go quicker than 24.65 in a solo, surely. Would you not?
Sorry, I lost you again. Yeah, I was just sorry, I lost what you said there, but I'm just looking at his last run against Sparta Master when he led him, was picked up and beat 6 lengths. That's
we lost him.
He's put a pound in the meter.
Yeah, I think really you're betting, or if you're betting 6, you're betting it on trust that he's in his old form, and I'm not convinced he is.
There's some dogs capable of a decent run in this race as well.
Yeah, I mean, Bodo Frankie, when he hits the ground running, he's a 24-30 dog. And as I say, then Stories Direct's got to find 35 spots. That's 4.5 lengths.
Yeah.
To beat him.
That section last week
is solo as well.
Sorry, Barry?
His 398 section last week, that wouldn't be great, would it? That's
walking out. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. So maybe.
Yeah, I suppose he could find time off for that. Yeah, that's fair comment. Yeah, that's fair comment.
But look, you got to give him the benefit of the doubt, I suppose. He's only had 1 start in England, so maybe he could improve for it. I know he's had a few trials, but
I just think the last 2 trials are moderate. They're just moderate. Yeah.
Gerald McGrath. Good evening, Gerard. Evening, boys. Done 2 races night in Limerick, so a very small double as both odds on. Flashing Willow from 6 and 350 sprint. Jack Tavernbella over the 750. Good luck. Home safely. Oh, don't disagree with those.
Yeah,
don't disagree with those.
Yeah, that's a good double. I like that.
Yeah, that is a good double. What's the price, Gerard? Let us know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a smart double, that.
Both got big chances.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
And I suppose at some stage then, so we're 10 minutes away from Limerick's opening contest. So I would actually, I know Barry said about Stories Direct. I think I'd take him on. Tell me what you know about Spikuza, Barry.
Not an awful lot, Paul. He only had he won on his debut in Tralee in 1770 for a sprint, which would be red hot. Not a red hot run. Hasn't had the best of luck over there so far. I suppose he was obviously beaten. That Lemon Barticus was not a bad dog. He used to be with John Linehan over here. He ran well in his debut. I don't know an awful lot about him. All I can say is I know 4 hasn't got an awful lot of early Pinewood Sid. He qualified well, but I've watched his 2 runs, so he could get a clear run up to the bend. And if you're doing 70 on debut, you obviously have plenty of ability. I'm just letting you know that all of the dogs in Limerick run tonight. There's no changes on the card.
Oh, brilliant! Good.
If you have any bets, you can fire ahead. And confidence. He won't be hit with a Rule 4 or anything like that. But
I mean, listen. I suppose when you look at it, Stories Direct, he is running against maidens here. Is the fact that he's, the class he was in Ireland, he stands out like a sore thumb. But I've still got this doubt whether he's actually firing. He probably could. He probably could win this 3/4 fit, couldn't he? But
yeah, I mean, you look at his Irish form. I'll just pop it up 1 second.
It's top class.
So
it really is.
there's lots of Shelbourne Park form in there, but on screen, there we go. Got her in the end. Stories Direct.
Yeah.
So we've gone to Kilkenny for some reason for a trial. Then we've gone to Toaster for a few sprints. Done well. Lemon Barticus, who races tonight, is in the race. Fourth one, Shadow in the Maiden Derby, which is a decent. Yeah, that was a decent race, wasn't it? Then off to Perry Bar, 28.97. That's not setting the world alight, and that not the best trial there. Shelbourne Park, some of the early, that stands out, doesn't it?
Yeah, Surrey Nathan, that sort of form. Yeah, it's good form.
28.37. I've heard back from Nathan.
Yeah.
He thinks he'll win.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Easy.
It's an interesting one.
It is an interesting one because I kind of wanted to take him on, and now I'm thinking, should we?
Yeah.
What sort of price is he at the moment?
He's about 6 to 4.
Yeah. It's one of those, look, no matter what happens, if he gets chinned, you could say, look, he was worth taking on. His recent form's not great. And if he wins, you say, look, he had the back.
Exactly. You're right, Barry. Yeah, you're 100% right. Yeah.
There's nothing else that stands out as being backable in the race.
No, I just thought Spikusa kind of missed it and slipped a bit at the start and then tried to show a little bit of early afterwards. And I just wonder whether, again, that's a 3.85 sectional, which isn't brilliant and might improve off of that. And he did a 24.68, getting kind of held up as well. So that was my worry with Stories Direct. And you're right, Barry. It was a poor sectional. Was it 3.98? So he could probably come out better than that and improve his end time like that. But I've got him in mind that I didn't know whether he was anywhere near his old Irish form. That was my worry. But he's in a weak enough race, isn't he, to get away with it?
Yeah, he is, and he's had 3 runs now in the last 10, 11 days, so he should be spot on as regards fitness. He ran the 10th, the 14th, and 19th of April and out again tonight, so he shouldn't have any excuses fitness wise,
Yeah.
But as Paul says about the Spikusa dog, and he's dog winning in 17.70 on debut in Tralee in a novice event. Like you certainly have a bit of early pace as well. 5.39 around Yarmouth for us. That's not a bad split either, is it?
No, very likely race, Spikusa.
Quite well bred to Ravenswood Mango or Margot. She was a decent bitcher on Shelbourne for Liam O'Rourke. So it's an interesting watch.
It is.
Not far away from the first at Limerick. I think it's a nice touch tonight. They've named some of the supporting races. I think it's after all JP McManus owned horses, and just see the first one, the Mr. Donovan A1 600, the synchronized A2 525, and then towards the end of the card, Staker Wallace A1 bitch. I think that was a cross country horse.
He was a hunter chaser. Hunter chaser.
So
he's not had some bad horses, has he?
I've backed a few bad horses belonging to him, I can tell you, but he said more good than bad, I suppose. But look, he puts his money down, doesn't he? He pays for the and you know what I like about it is
great for
when he buys a horse, he tends to leave it with the trainer that's already had it. Like I think he gave Gavin Cromwell a big boost up when he bought the ill-fated horse that won the champion hurdle. Can't think of the name of him. He won the champion hurdle by 15 lengths only 2 or 3 years ago.
Epatante.
No, it was before that. Gavin Cromwell trained it.
Oh, Gavin Cromwell, sorry.
Yeah. I forget the name of it.
Yeah.
It's going to annoy me. But he like Gavin Cromwell wasn't that well of a known trainer when he bought that horse. And he bought it out of Cromwell's yard and he left it there with him, that way. And he had another horse before that he bought in Cromwell's yard and left it with him. So he does tend to give the smaller trainers a chance,
Yeah. It was a big price, that one.
Yeah, the Cromwell's horse that won it. I must get the name up actually.
Just looking in now.
Not far away from the first at Limerick, which is a good race.
Absolutely.
I'll just go through it if you
Yes, Ben Green. I suppose Alan.
Espoir de Len, that's the one.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Ben Green. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, he was only a 5-year-old when he won the champion hurdle, and I believe he slipped on the way out to the gallops and broke his shoulder a couple of weeks after that. So that was unfortunate. Yeah, there you go. But the first in Limerick, that's off before Romford, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah. They come.
This
pretty
is
quick.
you're on. You're on now, Barry.
I'm
You're
up
on.
now. I'm up now.
Yeah.
Come on then, Barry. Let's get this going.
I'm going to take
Get the show on the road.
the show on the road. We're going to go with Toolmaker Beach in 2. He qualified around Shelbourne Park in 1860, which most sprints in Shelbourne Park, open race sprints, we won in 1860. Like that's lightning quick, and that was only in his first or second run. It was an incredible run. It did take him 6 runs to get off the mark. So although he done 1860, he, believe it or not, he does lack a bit of early pace. Like, you know, fast dogs can do fast runs in sprints. I think he was unlucky to be knocked out of Kirby. The step up and trip will definitely suit him. The bitch in one, or the dog in one, I rate as main danger, Corcoran Devine. He's only 2 wins from 16, an A2 and an A4. Fairness, like, he's been fairly highly tried since then. And he's only ran from the Red Jacket twice, and they've resulted in 2 of his best finishes. He finished second and third, but he clocked some good runs. So the red does suit him. Bally,
worth a little saver on the one.
Yeah, I'd be back in 2 and saving on 1. I know Chiro will probably be fancied out wide, but she's a half sister to Beach Avenue, the great Beach Avenue that runs Shelbourne Park so well. Look, both of his wins have come in A4. He won an A4 competition in Shelbourne by 11 lengths in 28:30, but he did take a fall last week, and the only time he ran down here in Limerick before, he was rather wide at the first bend and never really showed. So that might be just enough to oppose him tonight. You don't know how they're going to come back after a fall. On the 26th of March. Ganja Gun, that's another she's form over 6 bends. It was only an A2. He won last time, so I think this will be one in better than A2 competition. And Bright Dream, yeah, she's a good enough card. She's 6 wins, 9 places from 27. But her wins have come in A2 and A5 competition. I think this Toolmaker Beach has a future over maybe 600 and further. So Robert Gleeson knows the time of day. He's well bred, half brother to Clara Icon. So we'll take a chance with Toolmaker Beach in this. They would have paid good money for him, I'd say. I see he was formerly known as Killara Flight, so I'd say William Hislop's not afraid to put his hand in his pocket. So
a decent Killara Lizzie pup does not come cheap these days. My
Exactly.
good friend Brian Kennedy, reader of them.
So I think 2 could be the play with a saver on 1. 1 did run really well last week, so he's obviously a dog in form. So
two's getting smashed in.
Is it what sort of even money?
I thought I gave 3 a chance, some kind of a chance, only on leadability factor, because I thought you're right. 1 slow away and 2 is slow. I didn't think 2 had that much earlier. I suppose it could be a bit of an easing class, mind Barry, but
you're 100% right.
3's quite consistent. Could smash out and maybe claim the lead, and that might be good enough. But
you're 100% right, Paul. I thought the betting would have been maybe 9-4 each of 2, and I just see now even money and 7-1. So I thought it would have been 2-1, 9-4 each of 2 to 2 and the 3. Like 3 sectionals, 133 and 130 the last twice, whereas you look at Toolmaker Beach, he's a couple of 147s and 143s, so he could find himself a couple of lengths behind Ballyeelan Rowley. I think if he's within 2 lengths or 3 lengths of Ballyeelan Rowley, he will pick him up.
And Barry, will you be coming? Oh, you haven't got Racing Post TV, mind, have you?
I don't. On my stream, it's just a small bit away from you, so I don't want to ruin it. All
right, I'll call him now. I would have preferred you to call him, but here we go. And away, Anne are racing, and 6 gets a lively break. Chiro on the outside, with 3 now punching up on the inner, but didn't quite make it. And 6 Chiro goes on from Ballyeelan Rowley, who's just run off a true line, but still has second. Snapping at heels is Toolmaker Beach with a whole pile of work on as they go into the 3rd turn. Chiro, the stripes, with a 4-5 length lead from Ballyeelan Rowley, trying to make ground now, but all too late is Toolmaker Beach as they swing for the judge. It's all over. Chiro is going to go and win it nicely from the fast finishing Toolmaker Beach with Ballyeelan Rowley back in 3rd.
Just won it comfortably. Interesting to see the time. Messy old race. Was
that the second winning line there, by the way?
Yeah, I think it is a second winner line. He's a half brother of Beach Avenue, actually. I didn't think, he had a fall last time. He ran in the Shelbourne Open 600 behind Fast Fit Paddy, so I was willing to take him on after having a spill last time, and he's only had the one run around Limerick before. But he won that well. He did win a competition in Shelbourne in 28:33. It was only an A4 competition.
Very good.
Just thought to step up in class might have caught him out, but there we go. Onwards and upwards. On to the next.
Onwards and upwards, indeed.
Yeah. Gleason's dog just got sort of crowded at the half as well, but I think the bird had flown anyway by then, didn't you?
Yeah, and it looks like it's going to be a good spin as well. I'll have the results up here as soon as I can get them. So it looks like it was a pretty fast time to me, I'd say.
I think it said 32:43 on the clock.
32:43. That's one of the best around Limerick, believe it or not.
Mm.
I know it's a trip they don't use too much down there, but 32:43 is lightning quick down there for.
And it was fairly close for third, wasn't it?
Sunday.
Yeah, I didn't realise it was the second win line there, so apologies. But
We'll let you off.
yeah, that's why I was hoping the Barry had called him, but there you go.
My goodness! Right, this is PL. This is. Look at the price.
Yeah, I know.
It's backable at that price.
Yeah, I suppose if Nathan said you should bet him, then bet him. Yeah. Yeah. Oh dear.
It's quite wide open the betting.
Go Wide, who is a Romford judge, thought the trial of 6 was poor the other day on the eye. The trap 1 seems to come back running out. It's not. Trap 2, a problem early for red. Kishlaw and Shakira went 30 spots faster than Stories on the trial session the other day. That's interesting as a benchmark.
So I could be wrong, but I think the record in Limerick is about 32:20, and if that is 32:40, it's not a bad run there for our last race at Limerick.
Yeah.
It's not a trip they use an awful lot, so it's quite hard to get a gauge on it.
So would you be with Stories Direct here, Barry?
After what Nathan said and at the price, yeah, I wouldn't be going mad, but I'd be having a few quid at like 4.8 there on Matchbook. Yeah, like I thought Bodell Frankie's not a bad price either at 4.8. But it's an interesting race. I'm interested to see how the 5-dog runs as well.
Yeah.
So there's probably enough interest in it for you just to take a watch and brief. But if Stories Direct goes, bombs out and wins, you'd be kicking yourself that you just left the 4.8 there.
I completely agree, especially having heard from Nathan.
Yeah, in the first round of the maiden derby, Pee Wee went out to 11-2, didn't drifted out from 11-10 to 11-2 and won easy. So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll find out. We'll find out. This is Heat 2 of the Friday Night Maidens. The first 3 qualify for the final next Friday. Away and racing. Good start from 3 and 2 now trying to drive up on the inside, but 3. Cheyenne Nation gets to the front and goes on. 2 lengths clear from Bodell Frankie. Now Stories Direct starts to get busy and closes into the third turn. It is 3.
Come on!
Stories Direct round the outside now kicks on for Nathan Hunt and swinging for home. It's all over bar the shouting. Stories Direct has careered away in the end. Pinewood Sibs second.
Wow, very good.
You know what? We're absolute mugs for only having a score on that.
Yeah, well,
but it was that sort of race.
Mugs.
But let's be honest, Tom, going into the force bend, you were saying, I'm glad I didn't get too heavily involved here, because around Shelbourne Park, he had some sub 340 sections in the Derby last year. I think he had a 338, and when Susie Sapphire won the Derby, she was on 333.
Yeah.
So like he's some early pace, and when he didn't lead there tonight, he seemed to come out okay. When he didn't lead, you're sort of going, "Oh, I'm glad I didn't get too heavily involved." But look, he did it well. He did it well, and look, there will be more to come.
Yeah, right. We have a special guest.
You could break better than that, Barry. Really, couldn't you?
Welcome, Joe.
Hello, boys.
How are you doing?
Absolutely wonderful. Pleasure to join you.
Good to see you've dressed up for the occasion.
Yeah, he's dressed up for the occasion.
To be honest, right, this time last year we were doing the Talking Dogs TV, and I was outdressed, out-fashioned by that man there, Barry Call, each and every night. You know, he always done mixed up. I had revenge to get, so I've been planning my outfit all day. So, but Barry, I'd still say you're kind of shading it. If it was the photo finish now, I'd say you'd be 3-1 on to get the nod. I'd say.
That
No,
is
I'll
a
give it to you
rascal
tonight.
shirt Barry's
I'll
got
give it
on.
to you. Well, I'm known for that. But I'll give it to you tonight, Joe, with the blazer and the tie, and the fact that you're in Dubai.
You don't.
You just.
Well, I just wish I was back in Limerick. I'm in Dubai at the moment. I just wish I was back in Limerick for the Kirby final because it's such a special night, and especially being a Limerick man, it's just an amazing night, and it really, really is a special night. And my heart is in Limerick tonight. I know I'm here in Dubai, but my heart is in Limerick. I just would give anything to be there now.
Absolutely. So for our English, most of our viewers are English. What is your involvement in Limerick, Joe?
Yeah, so I guess I've been racing there from a very, very young age. You know, that's how I got involved in going racing as a teen. Actually, none of my family were actually into greyhounds, would you believe? And I just started going racing with one of my local neighbours from 14, 15, and just fell in love with it. You know, you see the crack, you see the people involved. Greyhound people are the salt of the earth. Fantastic people, and they love the greyhounds so much. It's just a pleasure to be a part of it. And then obviously just got loads of friends there and started running a few syndicates. So my family have a pub actually at home. So you had people constantly coming in looking to join syndicates, you know. And obviously, as we know, greyhounds are an inexpensive way of having lots and lots of fun. So actually, would you believe, in the next race in Limerick, one of my syndicate greyhounds are running Headington Lady in the next to Limerick. So the nerves are starting to kick in. But yeah, so I just started getting involved in going racing in Limerick, and luckily enough had some success with the syndicates and went on from there. And I'm actually still a member of the advisory council there to track, so they do wonderful work. The Limerick and Clare Goba do wonderful work, and fair play, lads. The track in Limerick is looking impeccable at the moment. You have the green and white, Tommy Bolton and Andrew and Davy Ben and all the lads involved in James. They have a wonderful job done and great credit due to them, and the place is sparkling. I just wish I was there to have it in person. I got home a couple of weeks ago for our spring break here from school, but just wish I was there in person to witness it all.
It's not so bad being in Dubai, though, is it?
It's not too bad. It's getting a bit hot at the moment, though.
Yeah.
Joe, just explain to the lads about the involvement the GAA clubs have. It's a huge incentive for all the GAA clubs in the competition.
It's massive in Limerick. Like Limerick are the All Ireland champions at the moment, so GAA is everything. And there's a massive crossover between the GAA community and the Greyhound community. Lots of people heavily involved in GAA. I'm even looking at the trainer of Trap 1 in the next race, Sean Stack. He's from Clare. He played at county level for Clare. Very, very famous hurler. Now he's a Greyhound trainer as well. So the crossover is massive. And I think the McManuses and the Martinstown team did a wonderful job. They tapped into that crossover between Greyhounds and the GAA club, and they came up with that initiative of €20,000 of a prize fund. So that has provided enormous funding. Even my local GAA club here, well, I'm from Skeeton, but right beside us is a place called Kappa. Very small GAA club. They won it. Do you remember with Droopy's Davy? They won the €10,000. They build a walkway around their local field, and that I'd often go running there when I'm back at home. So that means so much to the local community, all from the funding from the Greyhound racing and the Conor Kirby Memorial. So this means so much to the clubs, and it's really good banter. You know, the local clubs and the rivalries, they have really, really good crack and banter between them all in the lead up to it all. And it's fantastic to see a different element. Obviously, you have your Greyhound racing stalwarts for the Conor Kirby, but it's also in Limerick right now. The place will be jammed for GAA people, and it's fantastic to see the crossover, and we need to tap into it. We need to get these syndicates up and going and tap into it more and more as much as we can, because there's great potential there, I think. But it's all credit to McManus's and the team in Martinstown. What a fantastic initiative it is, and it gives a great bright new element to it. And I see all the GAA clubs getting involved in social media during the week. Fantastic, really, really great to see it.
Yeah, it's nice, that sense of community you've got in Ireland. We over in England, we did clap on our doorsteps for a bit a couple of years ago. But that's probably as far as we've gone. So no, it's really nice to see that sense of community, and yeah, people supporting each other and down at the track. It's fantastic. So Joe, what are your fancies tonight on the card?
Ballinabula 8. Simple as. I think maybe I shouldn't be so blunt in giving a winner that quick, but it's a very, very tight race. As finals go, you know, generally finals you have your maybe 6-4, 7-4 jolly, and you know you have a tight market maybe after that. But this is probably one of the most wide open finals I've ever seen. Any of these winners, dogs could win it, and it's not a surprise. Every one of them has produced form well good enough to win a Conor Kirby. Not even an outsider's chance, but well good enough. You see, Scooby Prince, the national puppy winner, is 10-1 outsider. I mean, that will just go to show you. This is probably the best Kirby final we've ever seen. But I just think Ballinabole Ed, he's for his early sectionals, he's hitting it around 4:14 consistent every night. If Kildare steps in a small bit, which sometimes he can do, I just think Ballinabole Ed, he has enormous pace. I think he was going to the third bend at around 15-90. He has enormous pace, and I just think he's that shade. And they're all very classy animals, but I mean, I could prove to be totally wrong after a race, but that's just my take on it. But what do you think yourselves, boys?
Yeah, I was the same as you. I fell in love with Ballinabulla Red as soon as I saw him. I texted Buckley and said, geez, you've got some team of dogs. I saw Flashing Willow win, and I saw this fella break the clock at Tralee. I said, geez, he is just a sort of dog I would love to own, Joe. Would love to own him. He's got the lot. He's got early, middle, and he stays. And I know Pat is quite sweet in him. He just needs to step careful. Like he said, he needs to mind himself. He needs to mind himself because, to be fair, Cronin's dog in 4, he's quite unexposed, and he's just had the 4 starts in his career, and he could actually then go and improve a little bit. So he's just got to mind himself. It'll be you just want a clear run race, and it'll be a fair buckle, I think.
The thing, just
Absolutely.
to mention, Cronin's dog in 4. If this was a dog running in sort of A4, A5 competitions, and you looked at his card, and he's gone 28.80, 28.40, 28.20. You'd assume he's going to go another 20 spots quicker. But because it's an open race, we're automatically thinking he's reached his ceiling. There could be any amount to come from this dog.
It could. I think at this stage he looks a front runner he looks a front running sort of dog to me, and I think he could improve. But I think if Ballinabulla Red matched him close even early, I think he might just outstay him. And I don't think Holland's dog's a million either, drawn on the inside, because you could see him smashing out, and then they've all got to get round Swords Rex. Scooby Prince is obviously going to be staying on. Although Droopy's Edison was probably a little bit lucky to win his heat last week, and Magical Cuba, he's got 2 ways of starting, and he could put himself in the race. So you're right, Joe. It's a wide open renewal, and I think it's a classy renewal.
Team Magical Cuba came out and did a 125 tonight. It did 28.02.
Yeah.
And last week went back to 151.
Yeah.
So 26 spots in the first couple of yards. I mean, that's on the 28.02 run. But you could argue on that piece of form, he's arguably should be favoured. You could argue on the fact that he's out in 6. But then he comes out and does a 151 the following week, and you're just thinking, whoa.
Yeah.
You know what? What's going on?
Tempers your confidence.
When I was doing the cards, we don't have many sectionals that short over here. You know, most are sort of 3-4 seconds. And I was getting really annoyed with it. But actually, what a dog does that first few paces out of the boxes really defines the race. It's not so much the run to the bend, it's what they do immediately leaving the trap. So potentially that's a more valuable sectional than the sort of ones we get over in England.
There was a sectional in Newbridge, Joe, and I think it's still the same. The sectional in Newbridge is less than a second.
Yeah.
A friend of mine had a 750 bitch, and you kick your cap fast at the halfway, and she done I think a really good section would be about a second, and she done a 0.93 one night. You know, that she just hit the lid, and that was it. But she's not early. But yeah, that is a bit misleading, I suppose. A sectional less than a second, you know. But just back to the Kirby. If you were a standalone bookmaker and you took one bet, you wouldn't like to be laying any one dog and just have a one dog book. If somebody come down and said, "I'll have 500 quid," even Scooby Prince, sorry, you wouldn't fancy laying him 500 quid at 10 to 1. You know, it's look, trying to make a few quid is a tough race. It really is a tough race. There's maybe easier ways to make a few quid tonight. But
so let's try and make a few in the 732. Well, Haddington Lady really the standout for me, eh, Joe?
I was just looking at the exchanges there. She's 12s in the exchanges. She's probably worth a fiver. She just had a litter of pups, actually, would you believe, in December. Lovely litter of 5.
I wonder what the layoff was about.
Yeah, she had a litter of 5 pups to Lahal Blake. And I mean, she qualified hot in Shelburne in a syndicate we have at home, bought her a bunch of lovely lads, great lads to be involved with, and I'm sure they're there in the track tonight roaring her on. And she's very, very well bred, but she comes from the airport line that Hugh bought her off Hugh Courtney up there in Dublin, and she won her previous start to last. She won over 600 in Shelburne. She'd stay well from the turbine home. Last week she had her first race back. I mean, it was her first run back. You couldn't expect an awful lot. I'm not expecting an awful lot from her tonight. She doesn't have an awful lot of work done. We're just kind of letting her race away and get back to it. And but look, she has some seriously fast trials done. I wouldn't put you off having a sneaky fiver on her, but stay at it. Don't go too wild. I definitely wouldn't put anyone off having a small few quid on at those kind of odds, because she's a very, very decent bitch.
Who's she been mated with?
Lahal Blake.
Lahal Blake.
Lahal
Yeah, so
Blake,
she
wow.
3 dogs. 3 dogs and 2 bitches, and they're absolutely thriving. They're shining, and it's great. It's great to have little pups come along. You don't miss the time going when you pups come along. But it is a good race. I mean, Sean Stack is there in trap 1 with Loxley. Has the draw. Sean Stack is a very, very decent trainer. You know, Glenn Garmanis won last time out in 29:04. Very, very decent greyhound as well. Boom and Staker has been very, very consistent for Amanda Mead out there in the stripes in 6. So it is a very, very decent race. It's very, very tight. But maybe trap 1 has the draw. Might just edge it, but it's definitely a tight encounter.
Yeah, I thought 6 might have had a bit of a chance breaking well and showing a bit of early on the outside.
Yeah, he's good early, but he's a bit limited on the clock. I think, I wish Joe all the best, but I think the bitch in 4 has some really good back form. She ran in an unraced, the Juvenile Classic, and she got to the final against Romana Bucco. Romana Bucco is one of the best dogs we've seen around in Ireland for the last few years. He suffered an injury in the first round of the Derby last year. I thought her run last week wasn't bad. Comeback run clocking 28.98. I don't think it's going to take much more to win that. To win this contest.
And had an 1889 350 qualifying trial as well before it ever ran. So you're bang on the money, Barry. I think that's a nice piece of certainly a nice piece of form.
So I think she's about. I seen her there about 12 a second ago. She's the 12 is gone. Joe's bitch is a strong runner as well. So she this 4 could have the early of Haddington Lady, and to get to a final, it was the Juvenile Classic in only her 4th race, I think it was. Yeah, she's not without a chance. I think that was her 4th run back in a while, 28.98. As I say, I don't think she'll have to go much faster to win this. So I think she's a bit of a chance. So we'll go with 4 to beat you, Joe. 4 to beat 3. I think 6 is the most likely leader, but he's vulnerable if anything is close.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all out. It's all out to get the trip. But it's 6 wins from 21. I mean, that's a decent strike rate. Probably as good as your strike rate back in Copper Paste Jacks back in the day, Barry, huh?
Better than that, Bill.
They're all in. Okay, we wish Joe's bitch, Haddington Lady, all the luck here for the Joe's Army Syndicate, I noticed. Here we go. Heads running for the synchronised A2. And away and racing, and 6 has bombed out the boxes along with 2. Finir Storm up on the inside looking to lead into the turn, and Finir Storm goes round in front from the wide running 6 Booming Staker. Then in behind these comes the red Loxley, and then we've got the orange jacket of Glengar Manus into the penultimate turn, and 6 is now laying it down to the 2, but 2 Finir Storm goes on again from Booming Staker. Look at the standing behind these is Loxley as they turn for the judge. 2's kicked away again. Finir Storm up towards the line will go on and score. Tight for second. Glengar Manus maybe just in front of Loxley, but we'll leave that to the judge. No doubt about the winner. Finir Storm came out well, disputed the lead, and asserted off the last.
Yeah, good winner there on August 17. He's had 21 wins from 61 starts. Joe, that's some strike rate for an August 17. Not getting
and trained by a local legend, Dennis O'Malley. He's well into his 80s, but he's a local legend. He's a fantastic trainer. He's real old school. This guy, Dennis O'Malley, he's probably one of the well better known trainers around Limerick, and just chatting to him, he's a legend, and he's a pleasure to be in company with, because he's an encyclopedia of greyhound knowledge, and like Barry said, in August 17, 5 years of age almost, and still going at that rate. 22 wins now from 62. That's phenomenal. So well done to all of them, and massive prize money won for an A2 grader has 8,500 1 hour after that, almost 9,000. So that's very good going. So well done to all of them. It's a really good run.
He's paid his way. Yeah, no luck for our selection 4, and your bitch didn't come away great job. But I presume you expect her to improve again from that.
Yeah, she kind of got just touched off at the bin there, and she doesn't have an awful lot. She doesn't have an awful lot of work done, to be honest, from after having the pups. But we're just letting her come back and maybe grade her down, get her back down to A3 or A4, and get her going again, get her battling away again. Yeah, she just got touched off the bench. She's not 100% fit yet, but we'll get there. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to her pups coming along, because she's a very, very well bred bitch. So really looking forward to it.
We'll just go to Romford for the race. We'll have a quick chat with you afterwards, Joe, and we'll let you go. It's getting late over there.
We fancy one here.
Yeah, I've loaded up while we've been chatting. This has got an absolute plot draw, this 6.
Can he come out as well as he did last week? I've never seen a dog come away that quick around Romford. He absolutely flew the lids, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Actually, he broke okay the week before, but I think he's one of those dogs that when he starts as well, he shows that good early. I've followed this dog actually winning out of A6, A5, and he came right the way through the grades. And although I don't think he necessarily wants to be in Trap 6 particularly, he's got the wide, but like Tom said, Bang on Sonia should be going right across into at least lane 3. So he's got a plot draw, and if he keeps banging the lids out of the stripes, then he's going to put himself in with a big chance here.
Carl Rocco won a nice competition around there in January. I think he beat Russian Blake on a couple of occasions.
Yeah.
He ran well in the.
Yeah, he did. He was running very well.
He was flying at the time, Barry. He was flying at the time, but I don't think he's quite in the same form. And again, the Toaster solo, I'd expect him to, if he was flying, to go better than 16-15.
This 6 was 11-2 on the early prices with a few of the bookmakers. I mean, that is just how could you make that dog 11-2?
Yeah, I watched the video of it this morning, and the way he came out, I've never seen a dog show that much early after coming out like that. Is that what's like 361? You wouldn't see many better sectionals than that around Romford, would you?
Very few.
Starters wave the flag, and the hare is on the move for the Foster Greyhound Standard. 400 metres to trip. All eyes on Trap 6 here. TJ Slipaway. And away and racing, and he's walked out the boxes. It's Crowhane Ollie was the first to show into the turn ahead of the Blue 2 Eichels Rocky, who's looking to get past out the second bend, but Crowhane Ollie remains tough out in front and goes 2 lengths clear into the third turn ahead of Eichels Rocco, who's trying to bridge the gap. Trouble there for Wildcat Tony when he tried to make ground. TJ Slipaway has made progress into third spot, but the work he's done. Crowhane Ollie has run away from his field in the end and done it nicely. Eichels Rocco only second. TJ Slipaway missed the kick and never really got into the race.
That was very Romford, that race.
He's if you look at his card, you crowded run up 3 runs ago, missed the break last time, and bumped run up last time. So maybe gone back to 1.
He was on the outside of Moorestown Victor last time. He did get crowded. I had him showing speed actually, but it was one of those. I suppose the fact that he's drawn red and he got the decent break, and Eichels Rocco kind of missed it. He then edged off a little bit, didn't he? But he had all the room to work from, and he was quite impressive actually. There's a lot to like about that effort.
Yeah,
absolutely.
By the first 2, I suppose.
Yeah. So Joe, there's a few good things at Limerick tonight. We'll go through them, get your thoughts. What have we got?
The next good thing I think is pardon using the name, but Slippery Joe.
Slippery Joe.
Nothing too slippery about this show though, but
an A3 good thing.
Yeah, I think he's been very impressive the last couple of weeks, and Pat Curtin is a very, very shrewd handler of a dog, to be fair, and he has his draw on Trap 1, and he knows the track very, very well. Has a decent strike rate, 12-44, and I think it's his to lose, I would say. Slippery Joe, I mean, he ticks a lot of the boxes. Now, after me saying that, he'd probably go out and get paid 20 lengths.
It's okay.
The dog and Tim was on a 5-timer. You don't see that too often.
Yeah, and you don't see it too often, but especially in Limerick, the graded racing in Limerick is very, very competitive. Like, see that pitch I had there, Headington Lady. She never won around Limerick, but she won twice in Shelburne, but she couldn't win in the graded race in Limerick. It's very, very competitive, and it's hard to win. So that's definitely a good feat to be on for that in Limerick for sure. Just going by the clock of 28-88 last week, and having the Slippery Joe kind of starts and stays. So I think it's his to lose. But look, you missed a kick in a race like that, and that's your race gone. So there's nothing sure about it. But it's his, from that kind of draw. I would say Slippery Joe's to lose, and I definitely like Flashing Willow.
Flashing Willow, next good things in the 350.
Yeah, that one had a serious split to the third bend. It just doesn't quite get the 525. I know it was bought out of Dundalk, having done, was it 2106 Flashing Willow had done in Dundalk, and came down and ran in the A3 stake in Limerick. Was doing phenomenal sections to the third bend. Just wasn't coming home from the third bend home. But if a Greyhound could do the sectionals that Flashing Willow was able to do to the third bend and stay on any bit at all, it would be serious contender. But I think Flashing Willow just has that early pace and showed it. Was, I guess, probably a bit unlucky down in Cork the last day. But
yeah, he was. He got done at the start a little bit, didn't he, Joe? I spoke to Buckley actually. He said his quote was, "The dog is fairly young and he's still a bit giddy." That's what he said. He's a bit giddy. He's not. He's a bit lively, I suppose, and not the finished article yet as a race dog. So I think he's a work in progress. But what there's plenty of raw materials to work with there. There's no danger.
Yeah, and he's still not 2 until next month.
Yeah.
But look at his strike rate. 12 runs, 9 wins, and he's running in decent company as well. 12 runs, 9 wins. That's 75%. That's phenomenal. Yeah. And they're a nice litter as well. Actually, that little base out of Cabbage. But I think Flashing Willow just will probably have a shade too much for these. I remember being in Limerick this time last year for the sprint. Barry, you know the owner as well of Two Amigos. Came in the sprint. We had a few quid at 9-1 that night. So hopefully we'll get 2 from 2 in the sprint this year with Flashing.
He's a dog that passed away at one stage, didn't he?
Oh, that's Jamie's dog, isn't it?
Yeah,
Jamie McGee's dog.
He won the sprint in the card last year. Oh, what's the story about that, Joe? He was gone for a couple of minutes, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was gone for a couple of minutes, and Jamie did a bit of CPR. Jamie must be a magic man. I don't know, was it Jamie or Ginger, but one of them anyway. They revived him, and he came back to life literally from the brink of death. Because I remember Jamie had been interviewed on RPG TV last year about it, and it was a phenomenal story. And to win, it's 18:43 that night, Barry. I remember we had a few good nights at 9-1. It's not too often you get a 9-1 winner around Limerick, but and he went on to be
around Limerick. Never mind 9-1.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he went on to become a really good sprinter. So I remember he won the sprinter last year, and I think Flashing Willow will follow up with a success this year. And very well named race, the Manila Times Open 350. I like that initiative actually of naming.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Yeah.
And what do you think to Jack Tavern Bella? Sorry, PL in the 750 race.
Oh, sorry, go on. Yeah, carry on.
Jack Tavern Bella. In the race 9.
Oh yeah, in the Easter Brack Open 750. Yeah, it's there's a good mixture in this. Like, I mean, you have Brenda Matches, but the nice name and just get away with it. And I was doing 28.69 in a trial around Limerick, which is fairly decent run, probably for first spin around Limerick. Then you have obviously Graham Holland's runner doing 41.76. I mean, that was a very, very nice run. Jack Tavern Bella, I would probably shade with for this one, I would say. Owned by the Pillar Syndicate, of course, Larry O'Shea and the Byrne family there, of course. They've had some fantastic dogs. They had a dog in the Kirby last year, Barry. What was his name? Escapes me.
They have Jack's little thing, I know that.
Jack's little thing, yeah. That was at the Pillar Syndicate, yeah. He ran up the unrace in Clonmel. And the Pillar Syndicate are a great bunch of lads, fantastic bunch of owners. And they definitely have a nice one here with Jack Tavern Bella. I think 41.76 was a great smashing clock the last day, but he'd probably go off favourite, but it's an open, it's a decent race, and it has plenty of depth in it.
I think she'll nearly win. They've a runner in the following race as well. The Pillar Syndicate, New Win Homer, so they could have a good night on the card as well. So. Yeah, I think the viewer who was on earlier on and mentioned that double Flashing Willow and Jack Tavern Bella, I don't think he'd be too far wide of the mark. You might get even money about the two of them, so maybe a little bit more than 3-1 on the double if you're lucky. So, I
was just going to ask Joe as well. Tom, that and for that matter, Barry, Park Blake and Sing Along Sally. Is that is it a 2-dog matcher, or have you got any preference?
Well, funny enough, myself and Joe were talking last week about what's the dog in 6 there in that race job? Tommy Too Many, is it?
Yeah.
Tommy Too Many had really lit up Limerick actually during the Kirby, and I think Tommy Too Many, not because it wasn't with one of the big name trainers, probably went under the radar small bit. Would you agree with that, Barry? I think because he had the clock and the sections and everything done. I just think was unlucky when he did get knocked out of the Kirby, but it was like he had some very, very nice clock done in Clonmel, and that 29.66 around Clonmel. That's not easy, don't you? It's not often you see that. I just think done everything right in his first 2 rounds around Limerick. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Very nice prospect.
He is taking a big step up against the sort of all-age open company with Park Blake and and Sing Along Sally, and poor old Sing Along Sally. If it wasn't for a certain Susie Sapphire, she would be a bitch of a generation. Like she'd be a Derby winner. She'd be. I know she didn't go in the Oaks. She won the Winter Racing Festival, beating Clona Sky, who's a Cork Oaks winner and a Christmas Oaks winner. She beat her that night. She won the champion bitch at Thurles. She was a finalist in the Kirby last year. She won the Juvenile Classic. Like, if it wasn't for Susie Sapphire, she didn't even win Bitch of the Year, did she? You know, it's a shame. You know, it's like Richard Johnson coming around when McCoy is around. Or something like that. You know that way? But she's a great bitch, and I know a lot of people fancy Park Lake to win the English Greyhound Derby. So yeah, he's probably biting off a little bit more than he can chew, and but he's definitely a dog with a future. Tommy Too Many, yeah.
It's amazing the way all the girl power is coming to the fore at the moment. You've Rachel Power, you've Honeysuckle, you'd Sing Along Sally, and Susie Sapphire all coming at the one time. But I think that 28-27 trial Sing Along Sally did recently around Limerick. I mean, that would suggest that she is in. I mean, that's as you know, she's in probably peak condition coming into this race tonight, and going from that alone, I probably would. I want to stop short of calling it a 2-dog race, because don't want to disrespect the rest dogs in the race, especially the likes of Tommy Too Many, who, I mean, did everything right in the first couple of rounds in Limerick, winning in 28-43 and had some very nice sectionals. But yeah, I think Sing Along Sally, I mean, she's a joy to behold. I mean, I just wish I was in Limerick to see her in action tonight, because she's just.
Actually, you're over there making too much money, Joe. Too much money.
Making it, but then losing it on dodgy greyhounds. You saw the way my dog ran a while ago, Barry. Come on. Training fees have to be paid, you know. Entry fees and all that. It's not easy.
Tell me about it. What do you give the forward lad a chance here in this race at Limerick, Joe? He's only a young dog. I think it's a bit of a run in him. He's struggling to come out well, but I think I think there might be a better break in him eventually tonight. Speedy Sid.
Speedy Sid, yeah, and his owner is fairly shrewd as well, Pádraig Fennan. It's only May 20 as well, so it's fairly young. Missed a kick last week.
He did, yeah. He's a bit of pace from sort of 2 to maybe 4. He doesn't really fly home, but if he could get in contention, the 3 isn't blessed with an awful lot of early pace. I know the inside Geo. I just seen Slippery Joe on the form guide. He was 5 to 4, and I thought 5 to 4 was short. And I'm just looking at the matchbook prices there. He's lay him at 195. Like, you know this dog as well, Joe. He's missed the break on more than one occasion. He really has. You know that way. That sort of price.
Which one is that, Barry?
The top dog. He's not an odds-on shot, is he?
Yeah. No, certainly not an odds-on shot. And I've been in Limerick plenty of nights where even in the bags you'd have to be with him, and he might let you know, because you know he's one of he's been on the go in Limerick for a while now. The 5 dog stays like an absolute train, the men jewel, but it's hard to back it with any degree of confidence, because you just don't know how much of a run it's going to get, how much is it going to open up for him. So that's what leads me to Slippery Joe. But I would say that the action is going to probably come from the inside here, and 5 will be fast finishing. The Tallyhole Classic dog is owned by the Wall family. They're one of the shrewdest families around in Limerick. They're fantastic greyhound people, and I'd never write off any of their dogs. Even if they had an A3 dog in an open class race, I still wouldn't write them off, because they're fantastic greyhound people, as I said. But probably would be looking towards the inside for the action here, and a fast finishing 5 in this one.
Yeah, I think he's the most likely winner, Slippy Joe. But 194, you can lay him at 194. That would be the bet here for me. Like, only recently he's a 152 and a 144 sectional on his card. If he does them, he won't be anywhere near the lead, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. 152 is not. You're not going to be anywhere near the front of doing 152 in Limerick. I think it's great in recent years. I think it's great the way sectionals have come on in tracks. The way they're starting to show them now. You know, it's in Limerick. We have the early one, we have the 120 or the 131, and then you have your 4-second one, then you have your third bend one, and it's great. And I think it's important not to get too carried away with them, because greyhounds aren't robots, and it's not guaranteed to happen. But I think it's a fantastic guide to go by form, and I think it's great that tracks are kind of coming along and getting boards now, and that we can actually see them once the race is stopped. The camera goes that if you're watching the replays, you can get to see the splits. So I think it's good that we're moving with the times in that regard.
Do we make this a betting race at these prices? Probably not.
No, you'd have to take on the top. He's gonna be 4 to 5 now shortly. Like, he's a decent dog. he's well drawn and won, but at that sort of price, like you couldn't have him. Like when I seen the form guide, I thought if he is 5-4, he's very short of 5-4, and he is now 183.
184. Wow, yeah. I wouldn't be lumping on at that kind of price. But then again, Barry, there's no show like a Joe show.
As you know, Joe, I've had a small few quid on trap 4 at 24 there. I think there's better to come from him. He was only a couple of lengths behind Slippery Joe there. You can see that second last line of form. He was only beaten 2 lengths in the short head when having to come from behind him, whereas Slippery Joe got a flyer and made all that night. So you're looking 2.5 lengths. One of them is 4-5, the other one is 20-1.
And he's probably quite unexposed as well, Barry. I mean, he's only had 7 starts, not too much next one. So you see dogs that around that age can improve a couple of lengths in any given night. So yeah, definitely wouldn't write him off. But just from experience and the form he's in at the moment, you would say trap 1. But as I'd agree with you, I wouldn't be having the house in him at those kind of prices anyway.
Yeah, I could scratch my head with this one. I thought 2. I'd already beaten one of those. I know Slippery Joe walked out that day, but I thought 2 could lead here, and that might be good enough. But
yeah, he's on a 5-timer. Yeah,
there's money for 2 as well now. Belagor's Rebel. Starter's going to check them over and a wave of his green flag, and the hare is running for the 3rd race on the card at Limerick. The Limerick and Clare A3 A4 final. Lids rising away and racing, and 3 gets a smart start. Just rubs into the 2 into the turn. It's 1 and 2 that will dispute the lead, and Slippery Joe will go round in front from Belagor's Rebel, who just moved in to the middle of the track. On the rails now is 4 Speedy Sid trying to make progress into the penultimate turn, and Speedy Sid now drives up on the inside of the red jacketed runner favourite and goes on. Off the last turn, Speedy Sid from Slippery Joe as they turn for the judge. The black jacket of Speedy Sid goes on for glory. 4 beats 1 and 5. A very good call.
Did you bet that 24-1, Barry?
Aye.
I did, and I'm only playing a couple of quid. Like I got a small 3-figure sum of them, but just my last 6 quid didn't get matched at 25. I'm just
greedy.
We won't complain. No, so that was
just thank you very much, Barry. Thank you.
Yeah, hindsight's easy, but because he's only a May and he was only beat 2 lengths by Slippy Joe the last time they meet. 4-5, one of them, 24-1, the other one. It was a no-brainer, really, wasn't it?
It was.
Barry, you're outdoing me in the fashion stakes, and you're outdoing me in the tipping stakes. I give up. I can't win.
I'll swap it all for your hair, Joe. I'd swap it all.
I'm from Kenny Mulcahy here. A joy to have decent Irish dog racing on TV with people that know what they're talking about.
The other guys on, is there?
Joe, I was very impressed with your debut on Talking Dogs TV, and I suppose you're like what I'd call a pig in shit, really, when you're doing that.
Yeah, I loved every minute of it, and I was blessed. I was blessed, number one, to be asked to be part of it, but to be operating alongside Barry and Ian and Robert Catterson, it was genuinely like these. I come in here like I was a novice. I was an unraced pup doing about 30-70 qualifying time, and I come in and to be fair to the boys, we great rapport and just got on so well with them, and going into racing to especially when there was no one at the races at the time in Limerick, because we were racing this time last year. We were racing behind closed doors in Limerick for the Conor Kirby, and to be even at the track felt special, because we know how special this competition is, but to be working for Talking Dogs it was phenomenal, Barry. And I think we all got on so well, and we've met up loads of times at Shelburne Park since, and myself, yourself, and Ian and Roberts. It was just great banter, and the race was phenomenal, and it was just a privilege to be part of it. And a pig in muckball. I think that sums it up fairly accurately now. To be fair, I really enjoyed it.
A couple of minutes off here at Romford. Had a little interest bet here. Favourite is in 5. 6-5 on the book, 2.62 with Matchbook. Beeper's Hyacinth is obviously well drawn on the outside, and with 373 split, has every chance of leading. I've lost more money than I care to think about on Beeper's Hyacinth this year, and I think there's a danger of of that 5 and probably even the 4 doing each other a bit of bother. Aero Activate, if that pops out in a 373, should be very clear on the rails. So I've had a small interest bet on that basis, but I welcome the thoughts of you all.
I think we should save on Bonville Hugh. I think he's a big price at double digits. So don't. I know we've only played small, and it is probably a card where you just box away a bit like Barry. There, you can dig out a big one in Speedy Sid. I don't think we should leave Bonville Hugh unbacked here.
No, I like him as well. I think Sonic MJ, he's had plenty of chances. Only 1 win from 13, but I see digging back through the 480 sectional at Sunderland. I haven't seen too many quicker than that. But he's happily getting beat. Bonville Hugh, I watched this race from last week. Thought he showed a bit of early pace. He got a slight bit of trouble and he plugged on well. So yeah, I'd be with 4 and 5 here. Maybe just watching the 2 of them, or I've had a few quid on both of them. 4 and 5. Beepers, Hyacinth, as you say, you lost a few quid in her. She's 8 wins from 44, but she's only 1 from 20 in open race company. So this again is, I suppose, it's an open race, so that's probably where her downfall is. So yeah, 4 and 5 for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, we don't really know too much about Sonic MJ at Romford. That's the difference. So, but if he translates his sprint form, it's not bad class form. So 7:56 then, the Bungle Chase. The hare is on the move, favourite in 5 here. And they're off and racing. And 5 just nudged into 4, leaving the gates. And up on the inside, it's 1 prominent, but 5 now roars to the first bend. Sonic MJ goes on for John Mullins and races 6 lengths clear from Nitro Hero. Then on the shoulder of that one comes Aero Activate. But 5 is well clear. Aero Activate is trying to close off the last turn. Sonic MJ, though, will straighten up for the judge. Sonic MJ will hold on by 2 lengths in the end from Aero Activate, who ran really respectably back in second.
Strong run by Aero Activate. I mean, obviously 5 was impressive. Probably didn't want much further than that, but
no, it was a superior sort of kind of early dash really that got in there, but 2 missed it and kind of got on the back foot early and has run really well, to be fair to him.
Yeah, striking looking dog, the 5.
Yeah,
don't see too many fawn and whites these days.
Yeah, again, Mark Bates and Kelly Macari with Sylvia Oakes and Mr. AC Wade. Obviously John's probably looking to build on his team, and he's got a couple of those dogs from Newcastle, and looks a good kind of sprinting addition to the kennel.
Absolutely.
It's surprising he's only won the 1 time from 13 starts like that. Like, I thought he was a really good bet on the card tonight when I seen the 480 sectional around Sunderland. Like, I don't see too many going up quicker than 480 at Sunderland, but that was the one thing that put me off having a decent bet in him, was 1 win from 13, because he did edge into Bonville Hugh on the run up there tonight.
Yeah,
he to the lead, as Paul said. So yeah, he could have.
He probably wants kind of 3 or 4, really, doesn't he? That's the thing, and he keeps, they got the middle on him, and he keeps getting sort of 5 and 6, which probably isn't really helping him. Yeah, but he got away with it. He got away with it there because he was in with the right class of dog, I suppose. I think it was a little bit of an ease in quality for him. He's been running against Sign It Goofy and the good dog of Angela Harrison's Coulivanny Galley. So yeah, it's just I didn't know whether he could do it first time up at Romford.
Yeah, it was a good performance.
It was. Yeah,
it really was.
So how long are you out in Dubai for, Joe?
Just moved out here, Tom, just before Christmas in November. Then I went home for Christmas, of course, got COVID, so I ended up being at home for longer than I should have been. But just came back out then in January, so I'm here until July, until school ends, and then I'll be home for a couple of months of racing. And I do a bit of music, so I'll do a bit of gigging, so gigging and music, and then back out here.
I've seen on your Twitter you're on the guitar. Very impressive.
I was about to go to bed last night, and I said, "Geez, I better throw a couple of sentences together for the Kirby." So we come up with just a bit of a fun.
Yeah, very good. So racing prospects out there. Obviously, you got the horse racing, but have you dabbled in the camel racing yet?
I haven't been camel racing. Coming to this time of the year now, the horse racing. I was at the Dubai World Cup final on the 26th of March, and my God. It was just phenomenal, unbelievable. From every single thing they did was to the T. No stone was left unturned. It was phenomenal, and just a great spectacle to be part of. four lads actually came over from home to visit. So they timed it well coming for the Dubai World Cup. It was really cool. Made Ennis is an awesome track. I do believe there is greyhound racing over here, and
really?
I'm trying to do a bit of digging. So hopefully,
there's the straight line racing is very popular in Pakistan. I would recommend spending an hour watching the YouTube videos of it. There's a really good documentary about a guy training a dog called Commander, and over in Pakistan, the straight line racing. I think he wins a motorbike at the end. Not wanting to. Yeah. I remember one Saturday afternoon, I was deep in the mysterious TV channels and came across the camel racing, and it was taking place in the central reservation of a motorway. Really good. Yeah.
They're really big into that, and you see big, massive convoys of cars and people following the racing. And I actually didn't realise it until I started watching. Those camels can move. They can really, really move.
They're rapid.
They look slow and awkward, but they can really, really move. So I am led to believe there is greyhound race over here, but it seems to be hard to find out more about it. I'm digging, and hopefully we'll get there eventually.
I'll tell you what are surprisingly fast animals: hedgehogs. We've got a few hedgehogs in our garden. We've been feeding them, and they are rapid little spiky fellas. I tell you, during COVID-1, when there wasn't much sport on, I reckon I could have made a few quid putting a book together of hedgehogs in the garden.
Hedgehog racing.
I think the four of us on here would follow anything. Two flies going up a wall, we'd probably have a few quid on which one is what to win. Anything that moves, we'll try and make a bet and fair out of it.
When you say that, maybe a stupid question. When you're at the track at Dubai, can you get a bet on, or can you get a bet on your phone, or?
We don't want Joe getting his hands chopped off. Let's be careful there.
I'm a very law-abiding citizen.
Next question.
No, you cannot get a bet on. You go out there, you have a bit of grub, you have a couple of waters, and you go there, you watch a couple of races, have a bit of grub, and you slide along home. You know yourself. You can. There's like anything. There's ways and means. Now I haven't personally dealt with it, but there's ways and means online for people to get.
I'm just waiting for the door to be kicked in behind you now.
Do you know what? Anything could happen with me, Barry. Anything could happen. I wouldn't write it off.
We'll move
on. It's more so just a spectacle to be all like made, and the track is absolutely massive. Like the straight, the stand is just phenomenal. It's huge. So if we could get them, because there's plenty of money over here, if we could get those boys big into greyhound racing, then we're on to a winner. So
it's a bit hot for the hounds out there. You probably want an indoor stadium. Like the old Crayford.
In November, December, January, you'd have maybe around 21, 22 degrees kind of mark, and it gets actually a bit chilly at night. So and that's the kind of season that horse racing is on, kind of November to March. So if I can get chatting to a few of these sheiks, I'll try and get them to invest in a few. They might buy a few Headington ladies pups off me very much.
Just while we have a minute, because I've been looking at the Kirby all week, and I said I'll just have a look at the breeding of some of the runners, and I was amazed when I went through the breeding of them all. I can guarantee you none of these were cheap as pups. Just starting with Swords Rex, that's her first litter starting display, and the line goes all the way back to the likes of Wise Winner, where Pat Dalton's good bitch, Wise Winner, Flying Winner, and stuff like that. So that's in Swords Rex's line. Scooby Princess, that goes all the way back to Skywalker Queen, Nifty Neve, who was of course the dame of Premier Fantasy. Skywalker Queen, she was second in an Oaks, and she also won an Oaks. She won an international. I think Jennifer O'Donnell also trained her as well. That's her first litter. Droopy's Edison, he's a half brother to Droopy's Trapeze, Droopy's Acrobat, Broadstrand Bono, and that goes back to the Mega Delight line as well, which she was another fantastic blood bitch. And just to mention the sire there, and not a lot of people would know the sire of Droopy's Edison, Burgess Bucks. He only had 10 starts. He was a finalist in the Tralee Classic. He done 29.50 in Shelbourne for a 5.50 prior to the Derby a couple of years ago, and got injured in the first round.
He was a start to Maestro dog, Barry, wasn't he?
I think he was, yeah, very lightly raced. Yeah. Then on to Kildare again. She's from that Knock Even Joy Mustang Mega Delight litter. You have the likes of Bluetooth Megan in there, and Tyra Mazeltov for PJ Fahey, Miss Lee, and then of course Ballinabole Ed, the dog that Paul likes. His dam is by a bitch called Doll's Lady, who's out of a bitch called China Doll, who of course was the mother of Astute Missile, who won the 2017 Derby as well. So there's just class going all the way through them, and then finally the dog out in trap 6. That's her first litter for Impact Miami, and she goes back to the likes of Forest Ghost. She was a brilliant dam, and her line goes back to Ballandary Sand, and you have all them dogs. Ballandary Sand was once described as the best blood bitch ever, the best lion ever. Droopy Skulls, Cahill, Moaning Lad, Bypass Byway, of course, a Derby winner. Ballandary Ash was a Derby winner in 1991. So there was none of them cheap, I'd say. They were they're really, really all, when you go back, and you don't have to go back too far. I'm not going back 10 generations. You're sort of going back maybe 2, 3, 4 generations, and there's plenty of class in there. So some. And
as Dennis O'Malley taught me, the trainer of the winner of the second race, Dennis O'Malley, the guy I was telling you about, was into his 80s. He has all. I love his old sayings, and this is the one he taught me: an ounce of breeding is worth a ton of feeding. And I think that's the epitome of the breeding of the ones in the Kirby for sure. An ounce of breeding is worth a ton of feeding. I love it. It's a great saying.
It certainly is. It certainly is.
Speaking of breeding, Lorraine just said to me, one of the dogs that we bred, one of the first litters we bred actually, she's out of Roxhome Dream, or the litter's out of Roxhome Dream, which she won the Ledger for us, was Unkind Hands, and he won tonight at Nottingham again. He's raced over 100 times now. He's running really well. He's running out of his skin, to be fair, and Lynn Cook trains him. So
it's great when you see dogs like that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So good. So
you have a connection with Martin Lanny, Paul. I see he has a few of them Roxhome dogs.
Yeah, I think Mark and Haley are. I think they've got a bit of an association with Martin Lanny. Yeah, I think he probably helps rear some of their pups, I think.
Yeah. Martin's not too far from me, but he's probably 40 minutes down the road from me.
Gotcha.
Know Martin a long time. I actually met
the French food operator is Martin.
Yeah, he was, when I got the gig on Talking Dogs TV, he said to somebody, because it was advertised, and he says to me, this was the quote, he said, he asked somebody in Shelburne Park who got the gig on Talking Dogs TV, and somebody said to him, Barry Call, do you know him? And he says, do I know him? Sure, he went on my honeymoon with me, and he walked off, and I started laughing, going, that's actually true, yeah, we did meet over in where were we? Lanzarote on honeymoon, and the two women thought we had a plan, do you know that way? We spent a few days watching the horse racing and stuff like that, but yeah, that's what he used to say. Yeah, he went on honeymoon with me. So there you go.
A lot of racing folk go to Lanzarote. Was it Porto Carmen? Was it?
I can't remember yesterday. This is 20 years ago, I'd say.
You know, the first time I met him was on the way home from Cheltenham, 2017. I was in a racing company. They introduced me to him, and then he had, was it one of the Forest Natalie?
Yeah, the year after. Yeah, he did. Yeah, she won the Oaks for him. And he had a couple of good sprinters. He won the Bar one. Did he win it twice? He won it with Johnny Cotillo. He might have won it twice, actually. Not too sure. He had a couple of good sprinters around. He definitely won it in a second, I think. But
very shrewd operator indeed.
Right, Joe. What's going to win at Limerick? I can't give you another 25-1 winner.
Brickfield Cody.
In 6, yeah, on a hat trick, yeah.
You should meet the owner of this dog, Johnny O'Brien. He's a character, a man you loves being in company with. He's an act. He's hilarious. He's a real character, and very very shrewd operator with a dog. And I think Brickfield Cody. He's kind of although he's March 20, he's only 9 starts, and he's probably open to a bit more. Has 28.91 done the week before last, and he will stay on at the business end of things. But it's actually a Limerick versus Waterford race, so obviously we have the hurling this weekend. So there's 3 Waterford contenders and 3 Limerick contenders. So it's to spice things up a bit. So it's an interesting one. It'll be interesting to see how that.
Yeah, I see the dog in trap 4 is eligible to run in an A4, even though this is an A2. So fair play to his owners. They're from Waterford. They obviously said, look, we need a dig out. We'll throw him in, even though he looks well out of his grade. I think 4 has a chance here, Aussie champ, for George Roach. George can certainly ready a good winner. He'll definitely be better than A2 in future, this dog. No doubt about that. Don't let his record of 1 out of 4 put you off. He won well around Enniscorthy a couple of weeks ago, 28.98, won by 7.5 lengths, and he's still done plenty wrong in that race. The dog inside him is an A4 dog. I think he could make all here. 5 would be the fly in the ointment with Kiki Slim. that was a good one up in Yall, Joe. As you know, 408 sectional in Yall is fair going to the corner.
Yeah, and Thomas Wall is a shrewd operator as well. It'll be interesting, lads, to see how the form fares out as against the Limerick runners who are here week in, week out, like the Dromore 5-0, Brickfield, Cody. It'll be interesting, and Oakland Cadet, it'll be very interesting to see how that fares out against the middle runners 3, 4 and 5, because they're bringing in form from different tracks. So that'll be very, very interesting to see. It could potentially be their first time around the track. So that'll be Limerick is a stiff track. It's a hard run track, and if you can do a run around Limerick, you can do it anywhere. So it'll be interesting to see how that form matches up. But definitely agree with you about Aussie champ doing 28.98, facing that kind of adversity he did in the race. I think.
Do we think Aussie champ's a pick here? It's a bigger price than I thought it would be.
Which one?
Aussie champ.
Yeah, I'm going to have a small few quid on 4 and 5 in this race. I'm just looking at the sectional 5 done, and it's a decent sectional 408. Like you're getting a fair guide. It's not as if it's just flash and trap. So I can see that's 12.5 on the machine there now. So yeah, I wouldn't be adverse to having a few quid on 4 and 5 in this race. Must mention one by Ballymacbonny, great stayer over in England a couple of years ago.
Yeah, absolutely, which is fantastic. Apologies for my absence. I went for a Toblerone. Just fancied a Toblerone.
Oh, there's so much chocolate in this house; it's unbelievable.
Not easy to unwrap though.
Right, here we go then. The Sildara A2525. So we fancy really the outside over the inside dogs here, am I correct?
4 and 5 of a chance, yeah.
Good luck then with your bets. Here runs then for the 4th race at Limerick. And away and racing, and it's 5 and 2, the first to show. Wakiki Slim trying to bridge the gap into the turn and cuts across the field and goes on now. Wakiki Slim at a big price is a length and a half clear. All just faulted there is 2 clipped heels, and it is now Oak Front Cadet that goes on. A stayer has hit the front and raced clear into the 3rd turn. Oak Front Cadet then goes 5 lengths clear off the last bend, and he's going to come home alone here. Oak Front Cadet wins it nicely from the 5, who may be a little bit unfortunate at the halfway stage, Wakiki Slim.
Yeah, good winner. We certainly had the wrong one turning behind us there. Oak Front Cadet, he won over 600. He'd won 2 on the bounce before they put him into the Kirby. His last 2 lines of form against the other Colby and CryptoPunk. So he was the class dog in the race. I didn't think he'd turn that close, but ran out a good winner.
Do you have ways of seeing? Is the clocks coming up? Where I'm watching it, I can't see the clock. Right? Are you getting clocks for these races?
Cut straight away for the replay there.
Okay. It's a bit tricky without seeing the clock. But sorry, it's just after coming up in mine. 28.59. That was a good run. That was a big run.
Yeah.
All right, chat. For an A2.
You winning by that margin from that far off the pace over here, you'd be getting in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, you're supposed to get in trouble over here.
You'd be getting in a little bit of trouble. It's quite easy to get yourself in trouble in Ireland with unofficial trolls and the like.
Oh,
not actually in trouble, but what would be trouble here?
Look,
England seems to be that bit stricter. I guess because you've had years of bags racing and it's down to a T. Maybe Ireland, because not that it's new, but bags racing I guess has only been in the last 4 or 5 years. And it's kind of new in the sense that these winning distances have been so little and dogs not winning by far. It's not that it's a new concept, right, but it's only the last couple of years. But I think there's definitely massive differences the way that winning distances are looked at and improvements in time. There's massive differences between Ireland and the UK and the way they approach it. But it is a hard one because there is genuine reasons why greyhounds can find time and can find form, with injuries being fixed and all that kind of thing. So it's certainly not black and white for sure.
Yeah, there does be a Stewart's inquiry called if a dog wins by 10 lengths and improves drastically, but I think it's just a box ticking exercise.
To be fair, you do get.
I'd say you've been in the Stewart's room a couple of times, Barry.
We wish, Joe. Only for when they're going the other way.
Okay, we've got 3 minutes till the next one here. I've had a couple of quid on Slippy Molly while we've been chatting. That 355 sectional, I can't remember the last time I saw a sectional like that around Romford.
Wow, yeah, we were talking earlier on about.
No, sorry, that's absolute nonsense. That's Crayford.
Crayford, isn't it? Yeah.
That would be why. No, 372s are good enough.
I looked at this race. Maybe I probably spent the most time on this race at Romford of all the races. Yeah, yesterday and today. And my comment at the top of the card is roll a dice, because I just couldn't figure it out at all. It's so tough. I think that the bitch who won out of 3 last week, she's in 3 again. She was 14-1 to win last week. She ran well. I think she might edge a little bit inwards, but 6 was in behind her. He was a little bit disappointing. It's not a race for me to get too involved with. If I had to, I'd have a small few quid on 6.
PL?
I found this really, really tough. I mean, last week we Rebel beat Lila's boy, was it? No, sorry, Portuguese Hero. Yeah, Portuguese Hero. And you kind of think 14-1 came out of an A5, for God's sake. So a lot of it's just on the break, and on a 1 and 6 of me, so a couple of times. 1's beaten 6, 6 beaten 1. So I was really scratching my head here. I didn't know whether to take a chance on Aero Wolves, who can ping the lids over the 400-metre trip. No, I found it really impossible. I was quite happy to sit this one out, really.
Have a watch. The 1 is quite well backed. I can't.
The time the 1 dog beat Portuguese Hero, the time Layla's boy beat Portuguese Hero, he done everything right. I mean, everything right. So, and he beat him by a half a length. So
Nathan's dogs are flying at the moment.
They are flying, yeah, they are flying. But it's definitely not a race for me to get too involved with.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry, I must run. Enjoy the rest of the night.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Joe.
I have to rush away. Thanks for having me on and listening to my bluffing.
Come on again, Joe. Come on again, mate.
And enjoy the rest of the evening. It was a pleasure, and thanks for having me on. That's really enjoyed being on with you, and you can't beat good company. So cheers. Thanks for having me on, lads. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Cheers,
Joe. All the best.
Bye.
So the 225, just the 2-bend trip here. A lot of this is going to be all on the break. Her approaches and away and racing, and Lila's boy gets a smart start up on the inside of Wee Rebel, who's trying to match him into the turn, and it is Lila's boy who takes the inside line and just holds the threat of Wee Rebel, turning for the judge. Lila's boy will go on to score. Made all look like 4. Hawthorne Best may have got up for second, just in front of Wee Rebel.
It's run well, really well, very strong,
very
strong run. God, they're over as quick as they start those Romford sprints. There's less of them they used. There used to be a lot of sprints at Romford, but there's a lot less now. He's absolutely shit out the boxes.
Yes. Is that the shortest sprint you have? It has to be in England, yeah.
I think it.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be 2. I think is it 2:10 or I think the minimum trip is 2:10. You got to be. I think so. You got to be 2:10 plus, and I'd say that would probably be about the shortest sprint that we would have. A lot of it's on the break, isn't it? It's on the break.
Yeah. Dundalk is a huge big track. Dundalk has a 400 yard over in Ireland over 2 bends.
Yeah.
That's how big that track is. You can race at Romford 400 nearly over 4 bends, you know that way. It's a huge big track, Dundalk.
In 66, are there races live tomorrow? We won't be watching them. I'll be at the Arsenal, watching us maybe beat Man U tomorrow. But there is plenty of racing on Racing Post Ground TV at the weekend, literally all day. From the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, there will be racing, which is what we like. Any more comments in the chat? Happily to engage. So Barry, you write a column for an Australian website.
Yeah, it's just like everything I'm doing Greyhound related just happened in the last year, as Joe mentioned. Just during COVID, they were I just, nobody could go to the races in Shelbourne Park, and even like I had a couple of runners over in Shelbourne Park, and look, it wasn't a nice place to be. It was, you'd weigh your dog in, you were told to go back to the car. There was no sort of, you weren't even allowed to mingle in the car park with other people, not even talking in the window to somebody else. And it was just like, to be honest, where we live, I'm maybe 25 minutes from the track. So on occasions, maybe my dad might bring the dog in at, like, we all have to be weighed in by 7 o'clock, even if you're racing at 10:30. So on occasions, we were lucky enough that somebody drop the dog in, weigh him in, come home, and I'd leave here at 9:20 and go in and parade the dog, But not everybody was that lucky, and you could have people from Tipperary and Galway coming up, and they're leaving their houses at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and weighing the dog in at 7, and not parading until 10. So they were trying to get somewhere for people to watch the racing from home. So they come up with this Talking Dogs TV. So I applied sort of just willy-nilly. I was sitting at home one day, not doing much, and I seen an ad for it. So I said, you know what? And I went up and I threw maybe a half an hour at it and thought nothing more of it. So I got a call a couple of weeks later saying that I got the gig. So I presume they only got the one applicant. But yeah, we done that. That was it was quite daunting at first because it was a 3-hour live show. Again, you couldn't have a co-host because of COVID, so you were doing the 3 hours live on your own. Because it was a pay-per-view station, you couldn't have advertisements, so it was literally 3 hours straight, you just down the camera. But
that's hard work, isn't it?
Well, yeah, and especially for the first time you'd ever done anything,
Yeah.
And but the directors were very good, and it was tough the first couple of weeks, but we got through it. And you also had Ian in the commentary box, and you could sort of throw to him for a bit of a chat.
Yeah.
And we had Rob then when restrictions eased a bit. You'd have Rob over the far side doing interviews, or I'd do interviews and he'd do the live stuff. And then just after that, then I just got a bit more work doing Greyhound stuff. Just I was asked to write a piece for an Australian website, just really covering what's happening in the UK and Ireland every week. So I've been doing that now for maybe about 2 or 3 months, and yes, look, when you're watching dogs, and you don't have to do too much research and go back because you're watching it the weekend. Most of the stuff is fresh in your memory, so it's not a case of having to go back and watch every race and analyse it, So, but yeah, I've enjoyed all the stuff I've done for the Irish Greyhound board, and as I say, I've done a few nights commentary for Ian Fortune. I just fell on that as well by accident. We were going to a race live in Clonmel one night, and we lost the feed. And the director literally said to me 20 seconds before the off, "You're going to have to do this commentary." And I'd never in my life done a Greyhound commentary, And I was a sprint, so I didn't know if that was a help or a hindrance, because a sprint has to be shorter, but you got to do it quicker too, So I sort of fluked, and I'd done a good job on the time, or the race commentary. And I remember when the show finished, the door burst open, and it was Ian Fortune. He says to me, "Have you done commentaries before?" And I said, "No, never." I thought he was going to give out to me, And I said, "No, never." And he said, "That was very good." He says, "I'll have plenty of work for you." And he has, that way. So whenever he's
brilliant.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, it was good.
I love working with Ian. He's just so good.
Yeah, he's a good lad.
He's such a professional, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And I remember the first night we sort of done a rehearsal for Talking Dogs TV, and he was there standing behind it. And I was saying to him, "So what way are we going to introduce the races and stuff like that?" And he said, "You know yourself, just say, welcome to Shelbourne Park, this dog is this, and you'd know the breeding, and you know it won last time out, and the mother done this, and you're sort of going, I don't know all that." He's like an encyclopedia, and it's so easy for him,
Yeah.
If this dog is called, just say a prefix, say if it's called a Tyrer or something, well, the dams are all well bred, and they were owned by this owner, and they came from, I don't know that, but the more time you spend with it, you catch up. But yeah, he's just an encyclopedia of knowledge, and I've gotten to know him more over the last year. He's a good lad, and he's a good help.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah.
And I'm not going to give him any more praise than that.
He doesn't need any more praise than that.
No, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
He always, once you go in after him doing commentary in Shelbourne, and he has the biggest head in Europe, without a doubt. Like, you try to put and it's out here, like, that way. He just be saying it's his hair. He says it's not. It's the size of his head. So Flashing Willow up next at Limerick.
Flashing Willow is up next.
Yeah, as Joe mentioned earlier on, some record 9 from 12 and 3 places to go with that. So never been out of the first 3. I think 50 cash back in 3 was the former track record holder around Mullingar. Skylight Blake is a dog who's ran in many a big competition around Shelbourne Park. He can absolutely fly the lids. He ran well around Shelbourne Park in a Christmas sprint last year, won by Serene Ace. He actually led that field up for a good maybe 100 yards. But I think this lad is just a new kid on the block. When you look at the ages of some of them, 18s, 19s, 18s, he's a May 20, fine record, well bred, cost a few quid, I believe, and he's in good hands. So he certainly is the one to beat. Well drawn as well. There's 4 wide seats in this, which you don't see too often. So he has a plum draw. So looks the one to be with. I thought you might get a bit of evens. He's now 160, 173. I can't see us getting any evens, so it'll be interesting.
Yeah, it's tight now, isn't he? Yeah, very tight.
Dylan is a good judge. He's been on. Done himself a mischief recently. This Flashing Willow should be 8-13. The judge has spoken.
Dylan's a good friend of mine. Yeah, we've recently bought a dog together. Only a pup. So we're hoping he's the next big thing.
You always do. That's the exciting thing with pups.
And where is he trained?
He's only 6 months old, maybe 7 months old now. We have him down in Roscommon with Martin Tugger.
So
Martin.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, he does a great job with him down there. So
He does, yeah.
He's got facilities down there as well, and look, once you get them up, he has them in traps. He has them. You know, you could nearly collect the dog off Martin on Monday and bring him into Shelbourne on a Tuesday. You know, he's that much work done with them, and he does give you a fair good guide as well. When he tell you near enough if they're going to be any good or not. You know that way. He's never told me that in a while, but hoping this time he might say this one might be all right.
Dylan, 11-10 Willow, 11-10 Jack Tavern, both huge, both end up about 1.6-ish. I've tried to steal a few quid while we've been chatting. I've not got all I wanted matched at the nice prices, but 1.6 is bang on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I think Jack Tavern, Bell, I can't see that one going off odds against.
So do we miss Tom? Yeah.
I tried for a bullseye on.
Yeah.
But I think about 1.77.
Good with a draw, really.
Yeah.
But sprints, you don't want to be taking silly price about sprinters.
No.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, Pat said he was a bit giddy. Yeah, he's a fast dog though. That's the thing. If he gets it right at the start, then I think he'll be more than the length clear at the first bend. You know, so.
But there are dogs in this that are capable of flying the lids. Like 50 Cashback was a track record holder around Mullingar, and that guy like Blake, he can certainly come away. And just a bit of a worry. He's coming back from 4 bends to 2 bends. That's a big loophole we have here in Irish racing. Any of these sprinters now, if they break the track record, they're eligible to run in A3 over 525. I don't know what's like over there with you guys. So something can come out tonight, break the track record, and run in an A3 competition over 4 bends next week.
Yeah,
that's pretty mad, isn't it?
Slip the Lark won he ran up on a derby going back a few years ago. He won a big competition down at Dundalk over 2 bends, and he arrived up for an A3 competition in Shelbourne. Julie won it now, but
Flashing Willow drifting a little bit now.
Yeah.
I think we might get fully matched here. The way it's going, we'll see.
And then, we've got a fair bit of time after this for the Romford race because
we have, yeah.
We've got Corton Steel, which is Tom's dog in the next Barry.
Oh, very good.
So,
have you got many, Tom?
That's my only dog at the moment. Yes, first time I've been down to one dog in a long time. With the baby, it's hard to get racing at the moment. So this is I've been enjoying Watchalong, so I can lock myself away in the spare room and just watch racing with PL for a night without distraction.
Working, yeah.
Yeah, quite. But no, I'm keen to get another nice pup or minor open dog or something a bit later in the year. Just be nice to have a Derby dog again. They've just got so expensive. Price of good dogs is just so much higher than when I got into the game.
It
And I
really
guess
is, yeah.
Barry, that's why people have a go at breeding, isn't it? Really.
It is because like the money myself and Dylan paid for this dog, like it's not huge money, but again you get into the track and you've paid your rearing expenses, and like I currently have a dog up for sale on Greyhound data, and he's only just gone 2-year-old. He won a good novice race in Shelbourne Park in his debut. He beat the likes of 39 Winks and Blue Tick Kelvin, a few good ones. He's only had 7 races, 2 wins, 2 seconds around Shelbourne Park. And I can't get offers for him for £2,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
€2,000.
Yeah.
And you're thinking of spending again. You get a pup up here that you don't even know if he's chasing. He's going to cost you £3,000. And there you have an A3 dog and you're looking to offload. You know that way. So it doesn't make sense somewhere, but yeah, because everybody's breeding for that superstar. So we'll keep on trying.
We're going in for this 350 sprint, €600 the winner. Good prize money. The Pat Buckley train, Flashing Willow, is the market leader. We've had a little bit on, Tom.
Yep.
Just to try and get a bit of plus.
Just a bit of interest.
Just about to be checked over, all facing the right way. Wave of the green flag. Pair runs then for the Manila Times. Open 350-yard sprint. Behind traps. And away and racing and falls flashed out. Moonlight Macy goes to the turn in front of Flashing Willows, now trying to pick up the inside.
Oh my goodness.
What a manoeuvre that was. A wicked turn of pace from Flashing Willow. This young greyhound is going places in the sprint division. Flashing Willow wins it nicely from Moonlight Macy with Give It Up back in third.
18:49.
What
the winning time
on earth was that?
I tell you, he was lucky. If he had been a neck further behind going into the bend, he could have been in trouble.
Yeah.
I sort of held my breath as he went into the turn there, but he just made it. He showed devastating pace.
It's kind of from halfway down the run up, isn't it? And then into the turn. It's
ferocious.
It is ferocious. That's a good description.
When you see a sprinter doing that, the first thing you say is he'll get 5.25.
Yeah.
And
he ran close well.
I've done it again on it because it was the second winning line, wasn't it?
It was the second winning line. Yeah.
But
it was never in doubt, PL. Never in doubt.
I think it's the second winning line. Isn't it 350?
The Colonel would call the Colonel would call a winner off the third bend. So you're grand, PL.
So 5 wasn't third, though. Yeah, that's the only mistake I made.
But here's the issue now with Flashing Willow. I don't know if I'm right in saying this, but somebody told me he cost a right few quid. And I was talking to this chap and I said, so that means if he wins everything in Ireland, you're barely going to get your money back.
Yeah.
There's just not enough races in Ireland. If the bar won, I think it may be worth 20. Maybe I'm wrong, 15 or 20. But after that, then the sprint competitions they're just terrible. You're talking 3, 4, 5,000 pounds. I see the Peggy Kelly, it used to be called the Peggy Kelly Island Bridge Sprint. It's now just called the Island Bridge Sprint. That used to be one of the biggest events on the calendars. And we were lucky enough to win it a couple of years ago with a dog, and it was worth €7,000 or €8,000. This is only maybe 2008, 2009, and it's advertised. It's coming up again now in Shelbourne, 2,500, and that'll be one of the biggest on the calendar. You know, so you have a dog like Flashing Willow. It'll be a 3-run competition, maybe running for £2,500. He deserves better than that. I know tonight's prize money wasn't bad, 600, but the spring calendar over here is not good enough, and the 6-bend calendar over here is not good enough.
No.
There's plenty of races for dogs over 4 bends, 525.
Yeah, between 500 to 600 yards. Yeah,
you've got plenty, but below that and above that, it's quite poor. Yeah, we done a preview of the Greyhound of the Year awards recently, and a bitch, a Generous Angel, I think it was. You know, she's a fabulous bitch. Nothing against the bitch, but she won Stayer of the Year, and I think she had 4 runs over 6 bends. She was Stayer of the Year, and they're like, that's not right. You know, I think she won 3 of them out, and it's nothing against the bitch. She's a fine bitch, but you should have a dog that's running 10, 11 times over £6 if he's to win Greyhound of the Year. Tom, this is your moment.
It is. That is an insulting price, 10-1, and I implore you to punish whoever's laying that at the moment. Yeah, Cool 10 still. Kilara Lizzie Pup didn't buy for big money. We got a winner our first race with him at Kilkenny. Went round multiple tracks. There just aren't the sprints. There aren't really the sprint races in Ireland for a dog that doesn't really stay a strong 4-bend distance. So after much deliberation, we bought him to stay in Ireland because we like Ireland. We like going over to Ireland. It's nice having a dog over there to follow. The prize money's pretty good. There's some good graded stakes. But it was just heartbreaking seeing him beaten getting picked up every single track for weeks and weeks. So brought him over to Romford. I live near Cambridge, so Nathan Hunt is based in Cambridge, so put him there. So nice and local. I don't live in Essex anymore. And he's been in what I call the Friday night maiden area of doom for most of his career. He's been a good Friday night. So he won one of his early races in 24-20, something like that. He was put in the wrong grade. You had to give a few quid on him as he came through the grades. And he's just ended up being a useful dog for them to use in maidens. And I don't mind because it is an honour to have a dog racing on a Friday night at Romford, but it does get a bit depressing. And, seeing him drawn badly against better dogs and massive prices and stuff is quite hard to take. But he's really coming into himself at the moment. He's a dog that needs a bit of sun on his back. And this is literally the first week since he's come to the UK where the sun has shone for most of the week. He's run really well last time. He's a very, very good dog from Trap 1. He is the sort of dog that finishes first or last. Yeah, he can get picked up, but he is very prone to missing it. But he's a big price here.
Yeah, you're not without a chance. Just before we hit your rates, Dylan did confirm there that the chance at the bar one is worth 20 grand. And after that, as regards the sprint competition, would be the Fair Warrior, which is worth 3 or 4 grand. And a few years ago, that was worth nearly 10, I think.
Yeah.
Jerry McGrath back to generous age when she won. I think that was at the Winter Racing Festival. He backed her at 60 and 70 and 80. And I was on Priceless Jet that night when he completely missed the break. But that was a good race. But we wish you all the best here, Tom. Is he over here long?
He's been over a fair while now. So he's definitely settled in. It feels strange to not be there for a final. There's a trophy to be had.
Tom, you should probably save on to it just in case that comes out the boxes. I think. Because I thought he showed good speed the other day and he probably can break better than he did. But that's going to be the chance, really, is 2 missing it and you claiming the rouse and hoping that Roxholm Archie kind of goes across a little bit and maybe crowds them up somewhat.
Well, the 10 is long gone anyway.
Boxes.
Have a look.
What's going on?
Oh, they're back again now.
No.
They're back again now.
Tom, very best of luck.
Thank you.
If he comes out in front and stays there, he'll win.
It's a good race. There's a few that could pick him up. Obviously, the 6 were extremely, extremely impressive last week. 24 dead, 364, but obviously got a bit of pace inside with Delish Bell.
And he's not guaranteed to do a 364 again either. So.
No, it's a lot easier to do those sections with slightly slower dogs around.
Yeah, 3 the field. This is competitive market. It's gone weak in the market, Roxholm Archie. Here we go then. 500 maiden final. And away and racing, and Corton still comes out the boxes nicely, but it's 5 early pace from Delish Bell that gets to the front there. Trouble at the back for Roxholm Archie, and down the far side, Delish Bell in the orange jacket from Haley's Go in second spot. Corton still trying to make progress into the third turn in front of Newtown Sydney as they come off the last bend. Orange jacket of Delish Bell has a big lead here and will go on to score and claim the £500 and the trophy. It was a 5-4-1 order. He ran all right, didn't he, Tom, really?
He did. He came out all right. That 5's just got a mega break.
Yeah.
Absolutely mega break. Yeah, very fast dog on his day.
Yeah, and reverse the form with his Lemon Barticus as
Lemon
well. Yeah.
Barticus, yeah. A lot fancy Lemon Barticus early in the day.
So what can you do with a dog like that now, Tom? Can he run in another? Is it like a winner of one maiden or?
Yeah, winner of one. You can't go for a sprint because you have to go up in distance, and he's not going to go up in distance for that. So probably back to graded around Romford, I imagine. I imagine they'll put him in a winner of one when they come around. But yeah, that's.
I'd say winner of ones. I'd say they can be pretty hot.
Yeah, they can. But yeah, there's been a few weaker ones today, to be fair. But where do you go from there? Oh yeah, that's it. But it's just nice having a dog around Romford.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been to Romford, Barry, but it's the best night out in English Greyhound racing.
No, I haven't been.
I've got to tell you, I've not been across to because they swapped sides a bit like the Wimbledon. You know, they went from So the main grandstand they decked it and made a car park. Is it right, Tom? And now they've gone over to the cheap side, which is the main side. But I've not been since it's been refurbed.
The viewing is as bad as the camera angle on that side.
Yeah.
You're too low relative to the track, which is a shame. And it's just not as good. And where the bookies are, they're basically by the boxes, whereas they were a lot closer to the finish line previously. Yeah. So everyone stands down that end, but you can't really tell what's crossed the line.
Yeah.
So it's the viewing's more like the outside at Crayford than it was at the old Romford.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because we had some cracking nights on those steps over the other side.
Yeah.
But it's still good. It's still lively, and the facilities are nice and clean and fresh, and there's a good bar there. So it's okay.
I think the last time I went to Romford was when we had a good Friday night dog called Brogan T-Bone, who won a few races for us, and then was with David Munners. He put him in the scurry. Actually, he came. Might have been third in the scurry, and then we ended up moving him to Mark and Haley, and we ended up winning the scurry the following year. And he broke the track record at Sheffield as well. To be fair, so he had a couple of injuries in between, but they got him back to full fitness, and as I say, it was a nice little after being injured, it was a nice little tickle to go and win the scurry. It's quite a prestigious competition over here for the sprinters.
Yeah.
What do you make of Suffolk Downs? It's only recently opened. It's opened a couple of weeks now. Do you like it the way it runs, or
it's a bit like online bingo is how I describe it as a.
Yeah, I've looked at it as well, Tom, and I think actually they've just put sort of blue railings around there, like mesh railings as well, obviously because I think they have stock cars or something like that.
You do, yeah.
And it just looks a bit ugly, really.
Cheap.
Just doesn't look great. I don't like the way the traps are back the ways as well. It just doesn't look right. I mean, whether it's right or wrong, or the perception it doesn't look right, which I think is very important. But I must admit, I actually covered for I think Michael Hill was the race manager there at one stage, and it is a real friendly sort of local track, and everyone raves about the fish and chips there, and they are great, and the staff there were brilliant. But Michael wanted to go on holiday and had a holiday for about 7 years or something. So one of the lads said, "Would you cover for him?" And I did. So I went there the week before, got to know the ropes, and went there, and it was great. It's a good little friendly track, to be fair.
I've never been. It's about 20 minutes from my house. I've never been.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we used to go there before. Actually, we went there one night. As I said, I used to have dogs with David Mullins. And I think David I had a little bitch I bought out the sales called Boundless. She was a brindle bitch with white feet. She was a beautiful looking bitch. She wasn't a world beater by any means, but he got her to win. I think he got her to win a 400 maiden at Romford. He took her for a 550 maiden at Henlow, which she won by a short head. And that might tell you the story that she won a short head. She won a 575 maiden at Romford. And then Lorraine, we fetched her home, I think she must have been seasons, and Lorraine trained her. and we took her to Mildenhall, and they did a 6 bend trip there, which was 700. I think it was 700 meters, and I just was convinced that she'd just keep kidding and stay, that she would lead and just keep kidding from the front, and I did back accordingly as well. I had a right good bet on her as well. She was a decent price. I think she was 4-1, something silly like that. And I screamed her home. I absolutely screamed her home. I said, you stay. I didn't really know she stayed. I just was kidding myself, really. But but she did. So she won. I think she won 4 different maidens. 4 different maidens. And she wasn't all the ticket by any means. She just wasn't all the ticket. But we had a fresh, and I was convinced she'd stay. And when she got off the front, she did. So, and it's a little turning track. So obviously, Barry, when you're on the front there and you keep turning, it's an advantage anyway. So,
of course, you're throwing things off behind you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Any fancies here at Limerick?
Limerick, yeah, it's a tight little race there.
It is a tight race, isn't it?
Soldier, he 28.15 around Shelbourne Park in September in one of the rounds of the National Puppy Stake last year.
Jeez, that is a run, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. He hasn't matched that form really since. He's only had 2 runs this year back from a break. He should be improving for those runs. The bitch in 2, she can fly the lids and she stays strongly, but her win strike rate isn't great too from 22. Karen Toole is a dog with plenty of pace. He won a puppy final at Shelbourne Park the night of the Winter Racing Festival, but his trapping is a little bit of a concern. He'd only ever ran from Trap 3 once before, and Trap 3 is a good launch pad from Limerick, and the night he ran from Trap 3, he won at the Winter Racing Festival in Shelbourne. So if he leads, you'll see a different animal. Medina Roxy, she's another enigma. She can fly from traps. Again, her trapping can be hit and miss. She won at the Winter Racing Festival too when she flew out, won 29.40 for the 550. So repeated that would give her a chance. The other George on the comeback trail, he hasn't had a race since October 21. Hard to see him figuring. And Canuck Abbey, she's having her first run since February. I think she was over in England for the Oaks and Perry Bar. I'd side with Karen Toohill. I'm not entirely convinced by Droopy Soldier. I'll give Karen Toohill a chance. Although 2-1 there, that'll be as low as I want to go. But yeah, I think if he leads, you'll definitely see a different animal, and it'll be very hard to beat.
What do you make of it, PL? Do you see a bet in this race?
No, again, this was one of the. I scratched my head because I didn't really. You know, Barry's given a great synopsis there, and I wouldn't know whether Karen Toohill was a better 2-1. I'm guessing might just be, but. I think if I bet 3, I'd probably just cover 1. But it would be a small stakes play for me, Tom, if we were going to play. So I'd be guided by Barry. If Barry says we should have an interest, then we'll have an interest.
The judge, Dylan, is a mental price.
Yeah, that's what Dylan just. Yeah, she has won a couple of top grade sprints, I believe, and she's look, she can be poor at traps. But the night she won at the Winter Racing Festival, she did clock 29.40 for the 550, and that's huge. But look, she can be slowly away. The 3 and 40, they can be good launch pads from in Limerick. So it's hard to get stuck into Karen Toohill or anything else, knowing that Ben and Medina Roxy can come out and do that. But I think Karen Toohill, he's now 9-4. If he leads, you'll see a different animal than what you have seen. But yeah, small stakes for me. But I'll have a small few quid on 3, but just for an interest.
What do you think, PL? Anything else, or leave it at that?
Well, your man Dylan says. Well, so we're on 4. We're on 4, yeah.
That's Dylan's pick.
Right. I think we should just cover on 3 then, so we don't lose. But just for a bit of interest, I know we can get in a bit of a Hail Mary later.
Going behind.
Yeah, I thought this was one of the toughest races of the night. I really did.
Good race, €600 prize money.
Yes, it's decent prize money tonight, yeah.
It's named after Sean O'Connor. The Sean O'Connor Cup used to be for dogs that got knocked out in the first and second round of the Kirby. I don't know if they're running it tomorrow or if they're running it again, but it was never just a one-run race. It was a mini competition for dogs that got knocked out in the first and second round, and it was worth good money. I think Navy Blue won it last year. He's over now.
Yeah. Damien Lonergan owned him, didn't he?
Damo has him, used to own him,
Damo,
yeah. Boyle Sport, Damo. Actually, he had a runner in Shelbourne tonight. I must check, see did she win.
Checked over then. Favourite is Karen Toohill in trap 3, just in front of Droopy Soldier for Robert Gleeson. Carol Ramsbottom and Robert Gleeson, 2 big names here, trainers. Here approaches for the Sean O'Connor Memorial 525. And they're away and racing. Fairly level break, and it's Karen Toohill will be looking to lead into the turn and does so. In front of his main market rival there, Droopy's Soldier. On the outside of that one then comes Knock Abbey, and then there's a gap then to the other George. Into the third turn, he's going great guns here, Karen Toohill, with some 4 lengths advantage over the bookends there, 6 and 1. One was just forced to check the stride there, Droopy Soldiers. Knock Abbey cut across him and up towards the judge. 3 will make all here. Karen Toohill goes on to score in style from Knock Abbey and Droopy Soldier.
Gerard summed it up well. That's shitting.
No, he's a really, really good dog, but you wouldn't back him again to do it next week. I don't think he's a competition dog. You know, he has issues at the start, but like I had on my card, if he leads, you'll see a different dog.
That's one of those though, Barry. When you go to the first bend like that, then you can light the cigar because you know he's not going to get beat.
Of course.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So he's a very, very pacey dog, but will he do it every week? I'm not so sure. Can you just excuse me for a couple of moments, gentlemen?
Yeah, go on.
Absolutely.
I'll drink to that.
And over we go to Romford Pier.
Yeah, we got a joint agreement here, haven't we?
We both like the 4.
That's it. So I guess we should have a bit of a go, I suppose. The 854, this, isn't it? Is it about the 7-2 mark on the exchange?
Yeah, it's a good price, isn't it?
Yeah.
A little bit more on.
Yeah, I think you should. I think that's a decent price.
Yeah, it's a very good price. Very good price. Very good price.
Would you cover one or would you just go all in for?
35, 43, 35.
It's a bit one of those, I suppose. Droopy's Thief. If he takes a because he has got a good draw really, but
yeah.
If he fluffs his lines at the start, then he's probably a million. But I think if he breaks, he'd put himself in the race, and he might be difficult to beat. But
I suppose you cover on 1, you cover on 6. And then you're covering too much.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then if 5 ships in, you've lost loads of money. And 5 could win.
I'm not. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know whether I was. The thing is, I think that Yellow Brick will outstart Come As You Are.
So do I.
Now, if we get out-middled by Come As You Are, then we're going to get beat anyway.
Yeah, we
but
are.
If Come As You Are out-middles us, he's still going to look over his shoulder when he's coming off the last because he doesn't see the trip out that well himself.
Yeah.
So it's basically who you think's going to lead, and I thought it might be between 1 and 4 really, and I don't think Come As You Are is a great breaker particularly. Probably got a fair draw because Montrose is an awful breaker and moves middle, but you know,
what would you stake the one as a cover with this?
What we had on 4 then?
40.
Yeah, just have 15 quid score, so just get your money back, really. Yeah,
I like that. I like the look of that.
Yeah. So basically, you're taking on Come As You Are to a certain extent. Has got a chance. Don't get me wrong, has got a chance.
Yeah, it has.
But not always. I thought it was I've seen this one at Yarmouth, and I think actually Yellow Brick and Come As You Are might have met at Yarmouth at some stage. But I think really what we're trying to do here, Tom, is we're trying to get a good break, get to the front, and that's
exactly it. Yeah, we're trying to turn it in front, and if we do, I don't think we'll get caught.
Yeah. So
there's a few to clear, but I think we've every chance of clearing them.
Yeah, I think
I'd rather be drawn. If we were drawn in 3, I'd be a bit worried.
I think we can clear. I think we can clear 2 and 3.
Yeah,
it's just what one does at the start, and the fact that Droopy's Thief is probably a dog that's going to break better out the middle. And I always think if you're not really a natural track 1 specialist, when you go from a middle box to the red, you tend to miss the up. just something, just kind of theory that I've got. So I would rather be where Yellow Brick is. I think it's
agreed.
a perfect box, and I think
it's very well
if
drawn.
she starts, I think she can lead and win.
Yeah.
Top 5 had a squeak here. I think I just missed it. He ran well last week after a slow start. Yeah, Montrose.
Yeah, we were saying while you were out, actually, we were thinking about covering on the 6, but we were saying if we do that, 5 will inevitably get up.
Yeah, the thing is with Montrose, I think when we covered the Essex Vars before, Tom, Montrose didn't start and didn't really stay. So I think another one that's all middle really. So we're just banking on Yellow Brick popping out the boxes here, Barry, and making all.
It's drifting, but that doesn't mean too much, does it?
I'll let you know after the race, right?
I just think if 5 hits it, he might have a chance.
You fancy 5?
At a price, yeah.
This is the 5 of the Maiden Stayers final. Away and racing, and 5 has popped out the boxes. Montrose gets to the front early doors and has a 2-length lead at the first turn in front of Come As You Are. Then behind these comes Droopy's Thief, and then we've got Yellow Brick. At the back, we've lost a couple of these, and is 5 that goes on Montrose round the 3rd and 4th bend with a 4-length lead over the red Droopy's Thief. On the outside of that one, then comes Come As You Are, and 4 couldn't dominate Yellow Brick and has an uphill task. So they come round the last 2 turns. Montrose with a 3.5 length lead from the 6, Come As You Are, up towards the line. 5 has made all and cops the loot. 5 has beaten 6, Come As You Are, couldn't bridge the gap, and Montrose, for Barry Cole, has bombed out and made all.
5 has trapped how I thought 4 would trap.
Yeah, he flew the leads. I watched the videos from last week, and Droopy's Thief done 1370 sectional, Oreo PJ 1377, Come As You Are 1365, and Montrose 1370. So there wasn't much between those 4, and I didn't think the others had much room for improvement, where Montrose had a ton of room for improvement. He just got it right tonight.
The thing is, I can never. I've got previous with Montrose, Barry, and it's one of those where, you know, when we backed her before and we couldn't catch a breath when he got beat, and he's one of those that he very rarely comes out of the boxes like that. But you must be golden, so I'm going to keep an eye on you tonight.
Gerald McGrath, Gerald, I'll send you that few quid now in a second. He says.
Yeah, it's a good shout. It was a good shout. It's lovely when they come out like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. They don't come out too often, I tell you. They usually, what's the fella says, how did he come out? He came out like toothpaste.
It came out so well. I did actually think that must be Yellow Brick, and I've got the jacket wrong.
Yeah.
Actually, I was commentating in Shelbourne Park on the semi-finals of the Shelbourne Open 600, and I'm a novice commentator, I will admit. I think I've maybe done 10 nights at this stage, and it was probably my biggest night bar the Christmas Oaks final. Probably my biggest night doing the racing. And PL, you'll know yourself when you're the 2 semi-finals of the 600 were on, so you're looking at them and you're sort of going, right, you've a fair chance, you've a fair idea what's going to lead, and you know to look at where's this dog at halfway and blah 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 whatever. So Hello Hammond was in the second of the semi-finals for Paul Hennessy, blitz finisher, you know that way. So you're looking down the track to 600, and the trap's opened up, and you have the dogs memorized, you know, more or less, and the trap's opened up, and away they go, and this thing is 3 lengths clear down the middle of the track, and you're going, what the you're thinking you're on the wrong race, you know that way, and it's Hello Hammond that talk about throwing you know that way. Never in his life has he come out like that. But
at that point, you did the first Bernard have said, "Yeah, this is Wade in at Wincanton." So,
oh no, might look something happened to him and he'd be injured. And
yeah, that's the danger. Yeah, you just have to say it as it is. You're right, because as soon as you preempt it, it doesn't happen. So, yeah.
But never in his career had he.
Yeah, but things that I suppose that you do get anomalies sometimes, don't you, where things just happen, and you probably get that at Toaster this year as well, where dogs go wallop, and you think, how did he do that?
The dog in the final, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the first 2 in the final of Toaster last year were the 2 fastest sectionals of the entire competition. Is that right?
No, I don't know that.
I
wasn't sure about that.
I think the way the winner came out, he was definitely the fastest sectional of the competition, I think. And I think the second came out so quick as well that he was nearly the second fastest of the competition. I could be wrong, but I thought I read that somewhere.
We should ask Eddie Goodall because he's a genius with those fastest sectional
Get the
markets.
sectionals up, yeah. He does like it. He does like it.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. He does. So it'll be a great night down in Limerick. I've only ever been in Limerick once. I was down there last year for working for Talking Dogs TV. I think Joe's niece had COVID or something, and he'd been in close contact, so I had to go down. But just a quick story about that. On the way down to Limerick, I wasn't sure where I was going. It was my first time at the new track, and so I pulled into a garage halfway just to get a sandwich. It was maybe a 2.5 hour drive from where I am, just to get a sandwich and a bottle of water or something. And I actually met Tommy O'Donovan. He was heading the other way with Pierno to Shelbourne Park. That was that night that Ballymac Beach Avenue and Pierno went across the line together. Remember?
I remember that. Yeah,
it was the same night. I was chatting to him and I was saying, I'm not too sure where I'm going, and he says to me, there's Brendan Matthews just pulling out there now. He said, follow him, that way. Oh, this is like perfect. So I tried to keep up with Brendan Matthews, but like some of his dogs, I couldn't keep up with him. He was gone down the road. But there wasn't much traffic on the roads anyway during COVID times. And this guy went past me in a white van, but he had the little sort of air vent on top. And I was saying, I'd say he must have dogs as well. I'll try to keep up with him. So I followed him for a while, but he was again, and I wasn't going slow, so he was gone over the distance anyway. And I said, look, I'll put the sat nav on, I'll find it. So about another 40 minutes down the road, I see this white van pulled into the hard shoulder. And I was looking going, I wonder is that the fellow with the Greyhound? And I was saying to myself, maybe he's broke down or something, that way. So as I say, there was no cars on the road, so I sort of slowed down. But he was on the phone, and the van was still travelling at maybe 5-10 mile an hour, and he was on the phone. So I just flew past him. I thought he was taking a phone call. So I got to Limerick anyway, done a few checks, whatever we were doing. And Tommy Bolton, it was semi-final of the Kirby stage. Tommy Bolton, the groundsman, came over to me. He says, did you hear what happened? Such and such. And I said, no. He said his van's broke down about 40 mile up the road. He's after missing the race. He's not allowed to run. I was sick. Because I took the Jeep as well, which we have we throw the dogs in the odd time. So I had the room, and it itched with me for about 2 weeks. I was that close to stopping and saying,
yeah,
okay. Now, if the van had been stationary, I would have stopped.
Yeah.
Because he was still travelling maybe 5-10 mile an hour. I don't know if he was just after.
You just thought he was having a chat and trying to be safe, like, yeah.
Oh, it kills me. I can't forget that. Yeah, I can't forget the name, or I can't remember the name of the dog, but it sickened me for a couple of weeks. That way, could have easily thrown him in the back of the car and. Yeah. You never know.
Here we are, the big race. €80,000. That is a tremendous prize.
It is, yeah. It's all, and I think it's always been. Has it always been 80,000? I seem to recall it's been 80,000.
Yeah.
It's always been. It was definitely 80,000 last year. It's always been huge money. Yeah.
Yeah.
And look, it's very hard to get involved in financially. I'd be good friends with the owners of Trap One, Barbara and Leonard Lowens. They've had good dogs for many years, back to the early 90s, at a bit called Palm Springs, who won the Ledger in Shelbourne Park. Right the way through, Sorge Prince was a good dog. Obviously, Sorge Maestro. They had Shingon Stan. She was a brilliant bitch as well. But you're looking, there's an awful lot of these owners are long-term owners. Like even the Brendan Murphy and Ballinabola. Like them Ballinabola dogs have been going for a long time as well. The Comerfords, the Dumfries and Portland, Steve Noble. So, you're wishing everybody the best, and hopefully they all come out of it safe and sound and all have glittering careers. But it's very, very hard to call for me.
They're just showing on Race Post TV coverage all the GAA, all the syndicates,
all the firms mobbing up.
It's just absolutely incredible. The banners that they make and all that. It's just such a.
It is. So at the start of the competition, each club is assigned a Greyhound. You have to get through, and then I think it's £10,000 if your dog wins. And last year during COVID, some of the scenes on Twitter, I think Joe visited 2 of the clubs and was playing songs with on the guitar, and it was great.
Yeah.
So it's a great way of getting more people involved. I think we should do it on a more regular basis. But so what are we all going for? If we had one selection, it's not a race to play financially for me. I'd let my heart rule my head and go for Swords Rex because I know the owners. I live in Swords. I talked to the owners last week, so I'll go with them. I wish them all the best.
I earlier on took advantage of a friend got me on. I backed 5 and I've covered on 1. Because I'm the same as you. I can see Swordsrex flying out, and I don't think then they'll get round him. So, and he might be a little bit vulnerable late, but I think sometimes when you're on the front, in a final, it's a massive advantage to be there. And I'm still a little bit. I think Ballyball Red's a very, very fast dog. I mean, look, they're all quick dogs. They're all quick dogs, so and it is a very, very competitive final. Kildare's open to improvement. I just worry that Ballyball Red might get intimidated by Kildare,
possibly
going into the first bend or at the first bend. I mean, I think Ballyball Red, he races the bend brilliant, but he's still got an inexperienced dog inside him.
Will he edge ever so slightly inside Ballinabulla Ed, ever so slightly? Will he move to the left a bit? Not immediately, but I think on the run up he might just edge ever so slightly left.
Who's that?
Ballinabulla Ed.
Yeah, he could do. Yeah.
So then it opens the door for Magical Cuba, like as Joe mentioned earlier on.
Yeah.
If he does
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the day, any dog. I mean, obviously, Scooby Prince you'd expect would have to come from off the pace to do it, but he has in the past. So it's not like, although I suppose he beat Lenson and Ice, who would be vulnerable when he last won. But this is such a good final. It's a joyous final, it really is. Yeah. I mean, you'd love to own any one of these.
Oh,
these
big time, yeah.
For a race that's worth €80,000, I don't think in the next 10 years you'll see one as wide open as this.
No, I don't. Either.
I'd agree with that. There's not even a rag in here, a 50s that you'd say this just finished third and qualified,
No.
So it's tough, all right. Swordsrex was bought after a couple of trials. I was told by the owner, and he trialed against a dog who runs later on New Inn Homer. And as the owner was telling me, there was only a length between Swordsrex and New Inn Homer, and he said lucky enough the two of them were sale, and he picked Swordsrex. So one of them bet won by a length in the sprint, and the other one bet won by a length next time out. And I think they were near enough the same money. It was a toss of a coin, so we shall see. Even on the exchange there, the betting it's wide open, isn't it?
It's
I mean,
they're
actually. I mean, Tom's bet Ballinabulla Red for us, and he's took a good price because it's now hardened up a little bit. But I know Pat was. I mean, he rates the dog. Why wouldn't you rate the dog? But he's just like you said, he needs to mind himself, and I still think Kildare can improve. I do. Which is frightening, really. I say he's just had the 4 starts. He's not been out the 3, has he? So, it's a great race. I just hope it's a clean run race. Yeah,
of course. Yeah, I just say Kildare. Like, why should the improvement stop at 28:20 and only his 4th race?
Yeah. So it's great. I love to see all that the razzmatazz with it. I think it's brilliant. Really, really good. I think Limerick do a really good job with that as well. Do you, Barry?
Do you know what? I hadn't been in Limerick in a long, long time. And as a holiday destination for a while, Limerick had a pretty bad reputation. And I was down there for covering Joe for one of the rounds of the Kirby, and the people couldn't. There'd be a thing with people from Dublin, the coaches against the Dubs. And in some places you get a bit of a hard rap going. And from Dublin, there's that little bit of rival, but the people couldn't have been nicer. Absolutely couldn't have been nicer. So, they do a great job. The stadium is magnificent. And when I seen the stadium, it was empty, obviously with COVID, but it's a huge, big stadium, great facilities down there. And as I say, the people couldn't have been nicer. Great track, very fair track, good running surface. So, and
it's well maintained as well. Yeah, I think just watching their social media, I just think they try, Barry. That's all. I just think Limerick try very hard, So it's good.
Paul, it's as simple as that sometimes. Just trying to make an effort. Like, just briefly before the race starts, a couple of weeks ago, I went away to Ferry House for a day with the other half, and nobody tried an iota. It was an awful day at Ferry House. The prices are going up by $5 each and whatever, and it was just the drinks and offer weren't great and blah blah. The following week, I went to Nace for the races, and the difference, like little things like sun cream stations if you forgot your sun cream, and magicians for the kids, and bands in between races, and loads of seating, and the difference is phenomenal, that way. So it was just somebody tried. That's all it was. Right, over to you, PL. Hoping Swords Rex wins from my hometown of Swords. So best of luck to everybody.
Yeah, it's such a good final. The 2022 Conor Annie Kirby Memorial Final over the 525 for Greyhounds whelped Jan 20 or later. I like that as well. I like the fact that they're not necessarily
Little bit
pups,
around,
but
yeah.
they're young dogs, and it's brilliant. So may the best dog win. Just about to be checked over. And away with the flag, and the hare runs then. €80,000 up for grabs. Hare approaches. And they're away and racing. And a good start from the inside. Swords Rex goes to the bend along with Ballinabuller Red, who's looking to clear the four, but doesn't quite do that. And this is allowed Swords Rex to go on from Kildare. Then behind these comes Magical Cuba, who's trying to make progress along with Droopy's Edison. Then behind these comes the blue of two, Scooby Prince, who will be staying on along with Ballinabuller Red, who didn't get a clear passage. As they come off the last, Swords Rex is well clear. Swords Rex goes on to win for Graham Holland from Magical Cuba. Tight for third between Kildare and Ballinabuller Red. He was unlucky, wasn't he, 5?
He got his back legs taken, didn't he?
Yeah, he was unlucky. But no, all credit to the winner, and I thought that could happen.
You can't take anything away from the one. That was
Swords Rex had a massive chance to lead that race, and then they had to come and get him. Yeah,
it's. I'm delighted for Barbara and Leonard. They're huge supporters. As I say, they've had dogs since the mid-90s in Shelbourne Park. I know they paid a lot of money for that dog. Not 80,000 now, but they paid a lot of money for that dog. They paid a lot of money for Swords Maestro. They were very unlucky with a bitch called Shingon Stan. She was very lucky in a couple of Oaks finals, and she went on to throw a couple of really good pups in her first litter. I think there was a bitch called Cranky Rosaline she had. I'm just looking at her here. She only had 5 pups in her first litter, and she sadly passed away. And Cranky Rosaline was one of those. And I think she went on to throw some really good dogs. So they were lucky with her, you know that way. That was their breeding line to come. Delighted for Leonard and Barbara. I only dropped them home in Shelbourne a couple of weeks ago when I was on Clonmers. They had Swords Maestro in the semi-final of 600. So, delighted for them. Big supporters of the game. Good race. Yeah, ran well. 5 was a bit unlucky, but look, I don't know what the time was. Anybody can let us know the time. I think it's I'd say it's going to be sub 28:20. If I'm honest, because
28-27.
28-27. So, yeah, and look.
Right then, the box is here for the Romford race. We'll just do this one.
Yeah,
it is. I think it's a really, really tough race. It's a 5-dog affair.
Race for me.
So maiden stayers, hare approaches, 6-bend contest, and away and racing. 1, 2, and 5 all break level into the turn 2. Horace de Tortoise goes on, pinch back the put for Rags dog there, and 2 has gone clear here. Horace de Tortoise has a 4-5 length lead over Swift Quad, who's turned in second spot, and the rest are playing for places. Surely is down the far side. Horace de Tortoise for Bernie Doyle has a 3-length lead over Swift Quad, who's trying to close for Mark Wallace. Then picking up in behind these comes Dougie Dodo, also for Mark Wallace. Swinging off the last, 2 hard worked, starts to paddle up towards the line, getting tired. 2 with 5 drawing alongside. I think 2 may just have held on from 5. It'll go to a photo. Very, very tight indeed. But Horace de Tortoise belied his name.
I wouldn't have bet that was stolen. So
no.
I'm glad I didn't have a bet there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked Dougie Doo there in that race, but didn't get a chance to get involved, thank God.
Yeah, it got a bit squeezy at the first bend, didn't it?
But just back to that final, it looks as though they all come off safe and sound anyway, and Ballinabuller Ed, he will be going to Toaster. If you were backing him before the race, you wouldn't be put off by that one at all.
No, not at all. Not in that company.
I don't think anything flew the lids either, if I'm right, because just as a personal point of view, I was having a look at Swords Rex. He didn't seem to bomb the lids, but just
I think 1 and 5 broke best, and to be fair to Swords Rex, I think he showed best early, and I wasn't surprised that he did when he came away running. I thought he might be tough to hold to the turn. Again, when I watched the Tralee race. I thought I was quite impressed with Droopy's Edison. I thought he had nice pace, and I thought even in this competition, getting to the final, he might just have got a little bit found out, Barry, with the best. He's a nice dog, but I just thought that Swords Rex would be tough for him to get round.
Yes,
and then he'd have an uphill task. I thought Kildare was the same in that he probably needed to lead to win it. I think Kildare probably half missed it and went up all right and probably ruined Ballynaball Red. And that was my worry. And I think Pat said he needed to keep safe. I think if Ballynaball Red had got a clear run and 4 and 5 hadn't rubbed shoulders, then we might have had a bit of a race.
100%, I agree with you there. Yeah, what you would have, but look, it's all about being in front, isn't it? It really is all about.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and, in a race like that, yeah.
It's a good race, and you want to see a good race. You don't want to see trouble in running and stuff like that. So it's a good race. 28-27. It's a hell of a spin. Like you look back at that dog. I think in the second or third race he done 28.01 for 5-5 in Clonmel.
He's won a straight, but look at the rest of them. How close the bunched up going over the line.
Yeah. No, he's a good dog, and there's some good dogs in behind him. I wonder what they'll do with him now. Will they? I don't think they'll go to England with him. I think, knowing the owner, he will want the campaign around Shelbourne Park. They go to Shelbourne Park every Saturday night for a meal in the restaurant. Barbara and Leonard, and that's where they want to be, really, that way. So I'd say, off the top of my head, I'm not too sure what's coming up, bar the Derby, I suppose. And is there anything else? I presume he's only a July 20. He went to the race in Clonmel. He's had a tough enough start for it.
That's the thing. You can't keep going so well when you're going to get to that class of being a Derby dog. So you could be right. They might just take the foot off the gas with him, pick something out in between time, and go for Shelbourne.
True, but here's the thing I always find as well with greyhounds. I own a few and train a few myself. Sometimes when the iron is hot, you need to strike, because if you give them some time off, it's very, very hard to get them back to where they were. You know what I mean? Now I know there's nothing for him now, only the English Derby, and you're thinking, is he a dog in a lifetime? He's in the form of his life. Are you gonna you give him 4 months off? You're taking another 5-6 weeks to get him back to it's
and as well, Barry. The thing is, he is a July, so he's not a baby. He's won now 7 out of 12, and he's got early pace, and he's a railer, which actually would suit Toaster, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and this time next year, if you waited, he'll be a July 19, and you're saying he's knocking on a bit.
Yeah.
So it's.
But you're right. It's whether the owners think they can go for the English Derby and the Irish Derby, or whether they just want to wait for the Irish Derby, because that would probably, from what I'm hearing, what you're saying is that would be more important to them to win the Irish Derby.
Without a doubt, yeah. Leonard, they're down in the wife's name, Barbara and Leonard. Leonard would be Shelbourne Park, true and true. Like, as I say, they go racing Shelbourne Park every Saturday night without fail, and they always put their money down and buy a decent dog. And this is probably, as I can say, Swords Prince was a great dog maybe 8-9 years ago. This is another really special one. So yeah, I'd say maybe wrapped in cotton wool for a while and come back for maybe the Champion Stakes and the Derby. But wouldn't mind being in his shoes now.
No, he looked like he's a nice early pace dog. There's no danger of that. So.
Yeah.
And the thing is with Graham's not a fear to come over with a team of dogs either. So I suppose it all depends on what the owners want to do, as you say, and you probably know the owners better than us. But it'd probably be good enough if Ballynaball Red is good enough to contest the Derby, then so is he.
Without a doubt, yeah, so is he. And look, there's a lot of them in there that could go to the Derby. Would Patrick bring over Magical Cuba? Again, May 20, not exactly a baby, that way. And look, if you leave it a year, they're May 19s next year, and they're, after the Derby next year, they're sort of on the decline, really.
You're right. Yeah, you're right. You are 100% right.
So it's a tough decision anyway. It's a tough decision.
But as you say, it's not like they're coming over with that one dog. They're coming over with the team, and that type of dog in that Kirby final is good enough to get deep into the English Derby.
Of course, yeah, without a doubt. Like it's when you look at Scooby Prince, he went off 25 on Matchbook there. Like, he's a national puppy stake winner only 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah,
there's a big gulf these days between the good Irish and the good English dogs. It used to be there'd be a good English dog and it get bought, a good Irish dog would be bought by an English owner, bought over. Now the good dogs are staying in Ireland because there's more depth of competitions and a lot of advantages to having a dog in Ireland compared to England, and that there's a big gap now, I think, between those really good Irish trained dogs and the best English dogs.
Yeah, I agree, and I even believe there's a gap between like a top open class dog in Ireland and a top open class dog in Ireland. There was a dog won a 575 in Shelbourne a couple of weeks ago. The name escapes me, but he won maybe an A1 competition in 30.70 for a 575, just flying run. And he ran the following week against, I think he might have run against Park Blake and some of those. And he broke quite well and went to the bend with them, and he was just blown away by them, you know that way. So, yeah, there's some good dogs around Ireland at the moment, but there's a good programme for them to stay here.
There is. Speaking of good dogs, this is to see Sing Along Sally in a one-off race and not favourite says a lot about Park Blake. This is a very good race.
Yeah, some of the shrewd judges have told me this lad is the one for the English Derby, and he won an open race around Shelbourne Park on a Saturday night at 4-9. Shows you how good he really is. Dogs shouldn't go off at 4-9 for an open at Shelbourne. He was beaten favourite in the Ledger. 9 wins from 19. He's 29-24 around here for the 550 over this trip. I don't think there's too many dogs have gone quicker than that. Maybe Explosive Boy has gone a little bit quicker, but we were talking about Sing Along Sally earlier on.
28-27, the winning time of the last race.
Of the Kirby, yeah.
Yep.
This was 550 now I'm talking about, 29-24. But yeah, Sing Along Sally, as we mentioned earlier on, she would have been a bitch of a lifetime if it wasn't for Susie Sattler. So yeah, Tommy Too Many, if you could get maybe double figures about him, he might be worth a fiver. But it's what's we talking? Even I don't think either of them are great value, are they? 11-10, 6-4 on the machine. It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, they'll both go for the English Derby as well. They'll both on the agenda to go for the English Derby and Toaster. So, yeah.
If Sally's going for the English Derby, she's had one run since February. There's no point in having her at the top of her game right now, really, is there?
No, I think that's what Pat said. He's minded her to leave her fresh, and they've always had her in mind to go. I think that is probably, it might actually be a number one target for this year.
Yeah, the English Derby, yeah. Because you've a like with a bitch like her, it usually would be the Oaks, but you have a certain Susie Sapphire who is in your way.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, if he's leaving her a bit undercooked, 28-27 last week, and that was the winning time the Swords of X just done. So it's a bit of a head scratcher. But if you could lay the two of them there, that's you could lay the two of them at 5-4. You'd happily take them both on a 5-4. You're not losing too much. But what have you got running for you? Maybe Tommy Too Many, Savannah
That's
Hero.
the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Savannah Hero, a big run around Toaster, 29-27, late last year. There's a big trial prior to the Kirby. He was well fancied in a couple of rounds of the Kirby. He's coming here under the radar, sort of the lightly raced young dog. So yeah, if you could lay the top two at, and you can there, at maybe 11-8, you've got 5 and 6 running for you for the sweep, and you're not going to lose too much if one of them win, you know.
For some reason, I'm really strong on Park Blake here. I don't know why. I've been really impressed with the way he's come forward. When he came back, was he in the Easter Cup? He came back.
I think he ran at the Easter Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, he looked short, didn't he? He just didn't look like he was firing, and I think all of a sudden he's taken off.
He wasn't 100% in that run on the 2nd of April. It was a good run, but he was just, a lot of people expected him to go past, and Croker Spirit wouldn't be the strongest.
Yeah, Croker Spirit held his line on the inside of him, though, didn't he? And I think he looked tough to get past, really. Croker Spirit showed all sorts of speed. Park Blake matched him, but he just couldn't get round him. That was the thing.
Possibly true. He's a much better dog when he's off the front on his own. So.
Yeah.
So, look, that's what it's all down to. Can he get out the front on his own?
Do you make this a betting race, PL?
Yeah, I like one here. I do like one.
What do you want to stake?
You have plenty of time because there's still wild celebrations down at Limerick.
Yeah, you're right. You could have 40 quid, something like that, eh? See if we can get a bit back into the hod.
We need it.
We need it, mate. Yeah, we do.
I wonder what sort of price Jack Tavern Bella will be in the next.
Yeah. Is it worth having a quick look at the Romford race that follows soon after?
Just before we do, I have a text from Ian Fortune who's called me a profanity that I can't repeat on there. And he said the dog that I passed on the way down was Vallegro from Morris Heffernan. You're useless. And then you can guess what he called me. That was the dog, yeah. Vallegro, he got to the semi-final and I passed him. Left him stranded on the motorway. But thanks for that, Ian. I won't mention what you called me.
This race at Romford, which may well end up going off before the other one, Doghouse Dazzler, an obvious one on the draw.
Yeah, I wasn't as sweet as you, but you like him on the draw, yeah. I thought it was a tough race, but yeah, he's got every chance on the draw. Yeah, two's not guaranteed to get loose. I thought if two did get loose, should be a tough nut to crack. Maxine's bitch is running really well.
The prices were the opposite way round when we were talking earlier, weren't they? The two was quite a short favourite.
Yeah.
6-4 earlier on. What price are we now? 9-4 on the machine. I gave 3 a bit of a chance. I think the others are sort of switching tracks quite a lot. He's been around here his last couple of runs. Might just stand down. Decent run 2 runs ago, 35.53. That would nearly be good enough, would it?
Yeah. If he smashed out 3, he'd have a chance, wouldn't he?
And as I say,
It's a
Mike
tough old
Sancho,
race.
he hasn't been switching tracks like some of the others have been switching traps and tracks.
Yeah.
You never know.
It is a very tough race.
It's 5-dog race. It's a tricky one, yeah. Must have been.
Yeah.
What about the boxing tomorrow night?
Yeah, it's going to be good. I think, Fury's lost a bit of weight. I imagine he's looking to win it on points.
Yes.
Probably wants to keep his distance and outbox him. And yeah, he's fit and lean. But he's a hell of a character, Tyson Fury. He speaks very well. He's got a strange way of saying things, but he's very eloquent.
In his own way.
Yeah, and I feel the media try and catch him out a few times. He got an awful interview yesterday off Sky with Daniel Kinahan and his relationship with him, and he brushed it off after the first question. And your man, Kaveh Salikov, the football journalist, he must have peppered minimum 10 questions at him.
Yeah,
about his involvement with Daniel Kinahan, and he done well not to lose the cool with him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He did, and look, he obviously has involvement with him, but he denied everything in the interview. He's nothing to do with this fight, so what he asked me about. So it must be hard for him, but I give Dylan White a bit of a chance. I think Fury, he's fought Wilder the last 3 times, and before that, who's he beat? A washed up Klitschko, Selfer Safari, Tom Schwartz, Otto Wallen. Who are these guys? Yeah.
But that last fight against it was.
But sure, he beat Wilder before he went into the ring, hadn't he?
Yeah,
and he was down twice as well, Tom, and he's been down I think in all 3 fights against Wilder. Wilder hadn't got the gears to finish him off.
Well, he said himself that it's heavyweight boxing. It just takes one big punch, and it does. And White is a heavy hitter.
Yeah, I think White's a heavier hitter than Fury. I don't think Fury has that power.
For such a big man, I think Fury is a very, very skillful boxer. He's very, very quick, and White is not quick.
Going in at Romford.
Go ahead, yep.
I think it'll be Romford quick and then Limerick up the hills.
You're right. No bet here, but watch it with interest.
575 metre. The Find Romford Greyhound Stadium on YouTube stakes. And away and racing. A fairly level line leaving the boxes, tightly packed into the turn. Early pace from Chelm Switch, who gets the front in front of Doghouse Dazzler. and then a big gap back to Droopy's Garden, and then we've got Diamond Lisa and Ballymac Honest at the back of the pack as they come round bend 3 to 4. It's still the Black Jacket, Chelm Switch for John Mullins with the lead. 4 lengths clear from 2, who's starting to get busy now. Droopy's Garden into the 5th turn, closes now within 2 lengths. As they come off the last, hard work for 4. 2 now pulls out the slipstream, now switches back to the inside and in the shadow of the post, gets up where it matters. Droopy's Garden in determined fashion for Maxine Lott beats Chelm Switch right on the pay stick.
Good run, that.
And they're all in at Limerick. This is the Star Sports English Greyhound Derby Trial Stakes, and Sing Along
Sally's
Sally
out.
has come out the boxes and will clear Park Blake into the turn. It is Sing Along Sally with the lead. Park Blake checked over heels and has 3 lengths to make up down the far side. Sing Along Sally for Pat Buckley with a 2-length advantage from Park Blake. Big gap back to midfield Dino, and then comes Savannah Hero, who come round the last 2 turns, and it is Savannah Sally with a length and a half lead from Park Blake, and up towards the line. Savannah Sally will go on to score and runs away from a field in the closing stages. Park Blake, I think, just held on for second spot. It'll go to a photo just in front of midfield Dino. Good effort. Sing Along Sally scores for Pat Buckley.
Hell of a run.
Yeah, she's some bitch, isn't she? Like, she really is.
Hell of a run.
And Pat says there's more to come. Yeah, that's some run now.
Yeah, she's flown out.
Absolutely flying out.
The dog in second has done well. He has.
Yeah,
His challenger at the wrong time of the first.
He's had his heart broken there.
100%. Yeah, 100%. He had his heart broken.
Absolutely had his heart broken
Right
there.
across him. So
Yeah.
he was brave there, to be fair to her.
Yeah, she was. The pace he's making up here, you think, he's taking 1.5 pace for each of her paces, and then gets into this bend, and she just holds her line well. And yeah, he's decided to switch in there. She's held the line.
And
Yeah,
then she's run away from him.
that railing. If she rails like that round Toaster, she'll go a very, very long way in the Derby.
Yeah. She just doesn't want to be drawn too far off the fence, does she? That's the thing. But that was good speed. That was a good scalp to take, wasn't it? At this stage as well. And like Pat said, all he's doing is ticking her over. He's just ticking her over.
So
Quick
I'm
run.
just looking at the sectionals from the final of the Kirby. As we thought, nothing flew the lids. Sarge Rex obviously was the quickest, 1:31. He had a 1:25 in the competition in the quarterfinal. Balnabola Ed 1:33. That was actually his best. He had 1:33 and 1:34 in the competition, so that's probably as good as he can come out during this competition. Kildare 1:35. He'd 1:27 last week, so he's just over a length slower than the previous week. Magical Cuba, he'd 1:25 when he done that 28:02. He'd 1:36 tonight. Although it was better than his 1:51 from the previous week. And Dribby's Edison 1:38. That was about, he's been very consistent, 1:37, 1:37, 1:36 and 1:38 there tonight. So yeah, nothing. You would have expected the winner of the Kirby to dip into the 120s, but yeah, 1:31 from Trap 1 was good enough for Sarge Rex.
They're calling you out in the chat there, PL, for saying Savannah Sally instead of Sing Along Sally a few times in the commentary.
Oh, did I?
Yeah.
You did actually, but I wasn't.
Oh, sorry. I do apologise.
Well, last year, I'll do the next commentary.
I do apologise.
It's I caught Ian Fortune. I'm gonna slag him now because he was sending me that message. One of the nights in Shelbourne, it was a mediocre night. Maybe an A2 or an A3 race, maybe even worse. But you could hear his heart breaking halfway down the back. Commentary. There was a moment where you could just hear his heart breaking. So it was like me with Hello Hammond. He called the race anyway, and around the first bend, you know the way he says racing, so around the first bend, around the second bend, and as they passed the sprint box, his commentary got ever so slower. And you could tell he was looking at the card, you know what I mean? And as they just passed the 750 box, he just went, "I'm calling the wrong dogs." I think he was on the 7th race. He was looking at Limerick and the 7th right in Shelbourne, and he just got the cards mixed up. But in fairness to him, within 3 seconds, again, they got to the 3rd bend, he was back on track with the right race and called the finish home. But yeah, it was very good. You got to slag him when you can.
Absolutely.
So what have we got left? The 750 at Limerick, and then one at Romford.
Yeah, that's us, isn't it?
So yeah, this is a decent race at Limerick. Jack Tavern Bella, 5 from 7, including 2 places. Good debut over the trip last week. That's the fastest run of the year in Limerick, but like there hasn't been many races run over that trip. She's a 4.78 section for the 5.75 at Shelbourne, which is pretty okay. So she has a bit of early pace if she hits the lids. Bling Bling Paul in 1. He got to the final of the Sean O'Connor Cup in this event last year, in the Kirby last year. And he's run 28 races since, believe it or not. So
yeah,
and they've all been an A Open and A1. He actually ran 1 A2 and he won it by half the track, but he's held his form fairly well. 3 and 4 are similar. 3 is a poor enough strike rate, but usually runs well in these 750s. 4 is similar enough, though she has a couple of good runs around this trip last year, 41.80, 41.70. Get away with it. A couple of good runs around Shelbourne last year. Only the one start since October this year. She might need the run, although the Matthews Kennels have all the facilities in the world to have her spot on fitness wise. And 6, Almighty Paddy, usually a strong finisher over 4 bends. I think this demands a little bit more. So Jack Tavern Bella, 169 currently. Maybe 180 should be about, would she? 165 now to lay, so we missed a bit of that.
yeah.
Wouldn't mind getting a distance bet on this, because if she led, she could put a bit of distance between herself and the rest of them.
Yeah, and she's got every chance of leading.
She does, yeah. Look, Bling Bling Paul has half decent form over 4 bends. Like he's 29.50 for the 550, and as I say, he got to the final. He went deep in the he didn't go too deep in the Kirby, but the Sean O'Connor, which would be the sort of 2nd division of the Kirby last year, he got to the final. He has decent 4 bend pace. I don't think 3 is much early pace. Neither does 5 or 6. And she's been around here last week, so yeah, 30 and 14 is not a bad split. But she's getting a bit of a ridiculous price now, Tom. 160.
They you do worry about the stayers that are in front too long. Must get a bit boring for them.
Yeah, I always have a theory about those dogs, those good marathon bitches over 8-10 bends. They can only do it for so long, and then they half give it up, in my opinion. Jared needs Tavern Bella or Jack Tavern Bella for the double.
Yeah. Message from James here. Evening, gents. Going over to Ireland for the weekend double of Irish horse racing derby, followed by Shelbourne. More excited about visiting the dogs in the evening. You should be, James. The Irish horse derby is one of the flattest meetings you'll ever attend, from my experience. So, yeah, Shelbourne is first class.
Have you been to any of you been to the Curragh lately since it was revamped?
I went about
No.
5 years ago.
They've spent all the money on the track, and the track is lovely. Facilities are lovely, but they have an awful problem with when it's windy. You can't solve this problem when it's windy. It's like you're on a train station. It's whistling on a train ride. And I mean, it's deafening. It is absolutely deafening. And they just can't get rid of it. Dylan Fitzsimons has a runner in Shelbourne Park tomorrow night, if I'm not mistaken. Dylan, you can give us a shout. He has Mayola Shamrock. I think he runs tomorrow night, Dylan. For the 5 Morettis. Yeah, he's in the first race tomorrow night. I done a quick preview. Hoodoo Brown runs in the 4th tomorrow night at Shelbourne. He's a dog Ian Fortune likes. He really, really likes and thinks he's going to have a big future over maybe 600 or further. He runs in the 4th. Just having a quick look through the rest of the cards. CryptoPunk, who ran well in the Kirby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's up against it. Always, you know these races with Droopy's Good, Vanderbilt, like it's always tough to win them. Obviously the final of the Puppy Oaks, I think Crafty Jaco could win that. Bocco's Butchers could win the 10th for Graham Holland. And then there's a good race, the 11th race there. Susie Sapphire runs, of course.
Yeah.
Romeo Magico again, he's broke her heart, or she's broke his heart on more than one occasion. Croker's spirits in that race again. That's the race of the night there. Beach Avenue's in the last. Good card tomorrow night, Shelburne.
Yeah.
So yeah, back to this one at 160, skinny enough. As Dylan said earlier on in the chat, I think it was 11 to 10
Yeah.
Jack and Bella.
11 to 10 is too big. Too big.
It was too big. Yeah.
Wrong price. I think 1.6 is probably the right price.
It probably is, but it's hard to get involved at 1.6 when you miss 2.1, isn't it?
If you can get the 2.1, that's the big thing, isn't it?
It is the thing, yeah. I suppose when look, if you got 200 quid on 11 to 10 today, you wouldn't get it on next week, would you?
No.
But yeah, you might have got it on the exchange earlier on. I'm not too sure if there was much money matched at that sort of price. Let me just check.
One from Go Wide, Go Wide. See GBGB new rule. Greyhounds not to run more than once in a 4-day period and maximum 6 times in 1 month. That will stop some of these so-called trainers from 6th of May about time. There's been a few trainers that have been obviously overrunning dogs. I think that's good to be dealt with. Every dog is different though. Some need the frequent runs, and if you've got a doggo from Ireland, you need to get the races and trials, etc. into them. That's going to be difficult. I think once every 4 days is, the next day whether a dog's lame or not.
Yeah,
but 3 days, 4 days, I don't think there's any difference for me.
But I
What do you guys think?
they fetched a rule in really, which is going to tie people in knots. The thing is that on every level, every case should be taken on its merit, and it's not. So it's a bit of a dig at certain tracks, and it's not. It's the same old story, knee jerk stuff, without putting too much thought into it.
Yeah.
And
it is
and this could come to bite us on the bums. For instance, I think, did we have a situation where John Mullins trialled his staying dog? He got knocked out of a competition, and then he put him over a sprint trip to get him in the 575. Then he didn't get accepted, and then he got in there and was one of the fancies. And it's just a ridiculous tie you in knots rule. It's stupid. It's just what should happen is the stipendiary stewards should turn around to racing officers and say, "Why are you running that dog so often? There's too much racing." They should address the problem from the front to the back, not from the back to the front.
But going back 5 years ago, Paul, in England, you guys had the English Greyhound Derby at Wimbledon. Maybe it's a little bit longer than that, and you'd had 3 runs in 7 days.
The quarterfinal semis,
and it was called the greatest test of a greyhound, which I agree.
Yeah, it was. I think there was a lot to be said for that. 3 runs in a week.
Yeah, and now all of a sudden you can't run graders.
Yeah, agreed.
So,
Completely agree. Completely agree.
And look, we've often run dogs. We wouldn't do it every week. We've often run dogs in Harold's Cross on a Friday and Cheltenham on a Saturday. And you could do both, but then you'd give them a couple of days off. You wouldn't run them again the Monday, Tuesday, but it's just...
Got a race off at Romford here. Snuck up on us.
I'm not convinced to clear one here, but
best of all times at a big price on the outside.
Yeah, you said that, yeah. Right. It's the lucky last at Romford, 5-dog affair. Favourite in 2 here, a bit weak in the market. And away and racing, and 5 has flashed out the boxes and looks to clear into the turn. It's Kilshannon King, all trouble at the back for both 1 and 2, and Kilshannon King has gone down the far side with a 3-length lead from Mohawk Bob, who's moved into 2nd spot, just crowds out the favourite there, Antigua Socks, at the penultimate turn, and 5, Kilshannon King, is well clear and comes home alone. Tight for 2nd, I think 3 just in front of 2, Mohawk Bob in front of Antigua Socks, and 1 and 2 both got involved in argy-bargy there.
Looked fast at.
I think the only winner that Nathan Hunt didn't train in the car tonight was your dog, Tom.
But his dog did win the race.
He did, yeah. No, I'm only taking the mick. But yeah, that rule, Paul, as you said, it's you take it with each dog that comes, not being able to... I don't agree with dogs running, 4 times in 12, 13 days. But I don't mind seeing a dog running day after day and then getting them back on track to their normal routine, you know that way. But I don't like seeing them being abused.
It's just, I mean, basically, there's too much of a merry-go-round of racing. Whereas you should be having 10 and 12 race cars, they've got 14 and just carrying on, and then they're just filling gaps. It's just they're just attacking it the wrong way. But it's just typical of promoters controlling the GBGB, really. Right, here we go then. The Isterbrack Open 750. 6-bend affair. Hot favourite here is Jack Tavern Bella, an August 20 whelp. Was impressive on the 6-bend debut last week. Stand by. Here comes the hare. Up go the lids and off and racing and tightly packed into the turn, and the red-jacketed runner up on the inside, Bling Bling Paul, goes on. Tracking that one through, though, is 4 Tinic Solace, and then comes Jack Tavern Bella with a full circuit to race. It's the red, steering a middle course, but look for the favourite, sitting in behind now, starts to close, and Bling Bling Paul with a length lead from Jack Tavern Bella, who's trying to switch on the inside, just caught heels there at the 3/4 mark, and into the 5th turn, it's still the one with the advantage. Watch for 5 making inroads, 2 trying to punch up on the inside now, and Jack Tavern Bella goes on, and she storms away with 5 for company up towards the line. The 2 goes on to score. Jack Tavern Bella wins the races for Graham Holland. A nice stay in prospect. A good effort from Getway with it for Brendan Matthews in 2nd spot. It was a good tussle, that.
That's how you want a dog you've had 3 figures on to. My heart. That was impressive. A good stay is a good stayer.
She was stopped a couple of times. She was
was
right on his heels.
Properly stopped there.
And at the 3rd bend, she was brave to go through for such an inexperienced
she
She only had 7 runs.
She was very brave.
We did mention earlier on that the one dog, Bling Bling Paul, he got to the final of the Sean O'Connor Cup last year, which is like the Kirby sort of 2nd division. So he had good 4-bend pace. And we must mention Get Away With It. That's only that dog. That's his 2nd run since September last year. You definitely would have thought he wouldn't needed to run and to finish like that. Only quite lightly a race as well. She is 17 races, so she could be one to keep an eye on in the future. But a good winner there, Jack Tavern Bella.
Yeah, she got stopped a couple of times, didn't she? The winner. Whereas, I mean, you're right, 5's run well, but I think 2's got gears, Barry. I think 2 has got gears, yeah. And actually, when you look, she probably wants the inside more than Bling Bling Paul does, and she just got held up a couple of times, and she's still gone and won 2 lengths. So yeah, it was a good effort, good run.
On your 2nd run over 6 bends as well, so she'd every chance to half chuck it in there at the sprint box first time around, and then at the 3rd bend she could have easily. She's gone up the inside there of an 80-pound dog, you know. She could have.
Even down the far side for the 2nd time, she came to challenge Bling Bling Paul. She just got a little bit intimidated. She just had to check her stride. So where she was coming to challenge, she just sort of lost a little bit of momentum, but picked herself up again. And I think that's what allowed Get Away With It to come and challenge then and get closer. And maybe you could mark her up for a couple of lengths better than that, I think, easily.
And just looking at the freeze frame there, the first 2 were 3.5 lengths clear of the 3rd in the end. So, not a bad performance.
Yeah, so the double came up, by the way, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
The viewers would have been about 3, would have been 7-2 if we had got 11-10, 11-10.
Yeah.
Warren Bond really enjoyed the race from Limerick, lads. Comparison with Romford was like a Champions League game being broadcast same time as a League One game. You're not wrong. That's been very good racing tonight from Limerick. Very, very, very good racing. And it's been a bit of a game of bingo at Romford tonight, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been tricky enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Jared will be drinking well in Malta tonight. Good stuff, Jared. So good picking. Are we staying for the next in Limerick?
Depends when it goes off. It's due in a minute. You got any fancies in it, Barry?
New in Homer, Graham Holland's team are flying. The same owners as Jack Tavern Bella just there, the Pillar Syndicate. He was semi-finalist in the Rural Kennels Unraced, won by Swords Rex. And this was the dog I was saying earlier on that trialled with Swords Rex. So according to the owner who bought Swords Rex, there was these two dogs, and there was a length between both of them. So
Really?
in their first trial, it's official on the card. In their first trial, New and Homer beat Swords Rex a length. In the second trial, Swords Rex beat New and Homer a length. And I think the two guys just, I could be wrong, but from what I'm reading between the lines, they picked one, the others picked the other. And look, he's been pretty good, New and Homer. He a couple of decent runs in Shelburne before he had a tilt at the Kirby, well drawn and won.
Yeah.
The two bitch, both her runs are coming A3. That's completely different class to this. The 3-dog, interesting sire, Greyhound 10. He was really, really good sprinter for Packville Foyle a couple of years ago. He'd be his first crop. A vigorous buck. He's some good back form on a hat trick here. Ran last year's Derby, and I don't really give the outside trio or duo much of a chance. Hazel Hill Kelso, not so much. Yeah, Hazel Hill Patch, I suppose there's a bit of a chance, but I wouldn't mind having a few good of New and Homer. I think 3 and 4 could come together. 4 does seem to edge in a bit, and 3 has good early pace for the puppy, so I can see 3 and 4 come together. With a level break, New and Homer could come away and make all at 234. Probably a reasonable price.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Gerard, brilliant stuff tonight, lads. I'll come on soon and join you for an evening. Very welcome. Kenny Mulcahy, great show tonight, lads. Enjoyed the Irish racing and chat. Definitely, we've enjoyed the Irish racing. Fair play to RPG TV for putting it on. It must cost them a few quid to do this, especially with the live stuff from the track, and it's really good to have the exposure for these big competitions in England. Before, I'd be watching on Barking Buzz on my phone, and it's just not the same. Just not the same as watching it on the TV and really soaking it in. And the quality of these meetings and open racing is just another level to most of what we get this side the Irish Sea. So a real pleasure to take in the Irish meetings. And when we started this, I said to PL that I was very, very keen to do as many of these Irish cards as we can. Hopefully we'll do a good chunk of the Irish Derby as well.
It's look, I'm not saying it because I'm biased and I live local to the track and I do a bit of work on the track, but like tomorrow night at Shelburne Park, when I say there's no competition, there's the Suncroft Festival Puppy Oaks, which is a minor enough competition when you consider the giant stuff they have on during the year, and it's got Susie Sapphire running there and just an open race on the card, and it's some top class dogs, Beach Avenue there, just for running in the local. It's just the best racing anywhere you can get on a Saturday night, really, Postman Cat is up. Owen McKenna's half brother of Susie Sapphire, Zoom. You have the Puppy Oaks final, Bacchus Budsis all over the world, Croker Spirit, Susie Sapphire, Romeo Magical. One of those dogs alone would be enough to get you to a track. But it's really good racing.
Special Greyhound Watchalong next Sunday, isn't it, PL?
Yes. A week on Sunday. Yeah, we're going to do a live broadcast, Barry, from the track.
From Toaster.
From Toaster, yeah.
Very good.
Which will be a first for us. Sorry, say again?
What time does my plane arrive?
Yeah.
Private jet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that should be good.
It will be good, yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I went last Sunday and we had a bit of a reconnaissance mission, and
look busy last Sunday.
Yeah, there were plenty of people there. Yeah, there were. Yeah, good vibe. I like you do get a good atmosphere at Toaster, and it was good. Yeah, it was good. Decent weather as well, so that always helps. But
it always helps, yeah.
Yeah, but I've really got into the competition as well. It's obviously a shame about Cordovani Shadow. But
yeah, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, no, Patrick's not too concerned. Obviously, he's disappointed, but he's not too concerned that it's gonna be too serious. It's just obviously he can't continue in the maiden derby, and it's highly likely he's probably going to put pay to his derby campaign. But again, he is a young greyhound, and he might just be that sort of better 450, 460, 480 dog rather than the 500 meters. So there'll be probably
You don't want to hear that with what they're rumoured to have spent on him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, they spent. Yeah, he was £54,000. Yeah, so
You're not going to be winning that back unless you're winning a
no,
derby,
but I
unless
don't.
you're winning 4 or 5 cat
Yeah,
runs. I know that's not what it's
it's not.
about, but
Yeah, it's not about winning it back.
you're
It's about.
spending that thinking we've
Yeah,
got
it's
the
about
derby
competing.
favourite.
You're never guaranteed to spend that money and go and win
No, you're not.
a big prize, but I think it's the lads want it for the crack of it, to compete with the best. And to be fair, his pace is top draw. So Patrick will get him right. He'll get him right, and good luck to the lads. It's disappointing for them, but it's like he said, it's not the end of the world. So,
Well, heading the traps for this last at Limerick, I think one could be the one to side with. That is 226. I wouldn't put anybody off if you're chasing. I have a few quid on 3 here. I think he's a dog with a big future. And I think if you're backing 1, he could hold up the 4 dog. So 1 and maybe a couple of bob on 3 just in case.
have you played it, Tom?
Yeah, we played the one.
And have you covered on 3?
I can.
You should do. Because my man said it's a big price, and he is golden.
A broken clock is right twice a day.
Nah, I can't have all that. No, sir. The 950 at Limerick. Spot the difference.
Yeah.
He was the cross country horse, wasn't he? Yeah. Was he end of Bolger?
End of Bolger would have been here, yeah.
Favourite here is the red New in Homer for Graham Holland, who won the Kirby final. Her approaches for this 525 metre race 10 on the Limerick card. And away and racing, and New in Homer missed the kick completely. It was 3 Drumbeg 10 that got to the front and races 2 lengths clear from Ruffian Bell, who's turned second. On the outside then comes Hazel Hill Kelso, and down the far side it is Drumbeg 10 with a 2.5 length lead. 4 is now rushing up on the inside. Vigorous Buck, he's starting to close around the last 2 bends. It is 3, the early pace Drumbeg 10, still with a narrow call, trying to fend off the attentions of the and does so. Drumbeg 10 wins it. I told you, this man is on fire. Call the fire brigade.
So the prices of your winners tonight, Barry, have been unbelievable.
Unfortunately, I might have to come back on.
Oh, you're gonna have to.
You know what? You know what? Fair play, Barry.
Oh, stop. Yeah, that was a good
Better
evening.
call. Oh,
Better call.
We're not
Tom, yeah.
worthy.
Don't you forget a 26-1 and 20.2 to 1 winner.
Cool.
There you go, lads.
Barry.
Well
Easy.
done.
Easy.
I've just had a child. Are you the father?
Jesus Christ. No, don't put me in that predicament. I'm in enough trouble. Oh, God's sake.
Fantastic. Well done. Well done.
That
Some
helped.
judge.
That helped. Yeah.
Some judge.
There
Well,
we go.
Yeah.
Lads, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. But it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Hopefully we'll have you on again for one of the rounds English Derby.
Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Thanks, Barry. Yeah, that'd be great if you could do that for us.
Yeah, give me a bit of notice. I know Ian has gone over to do, I think he might be doing the draw, and he's gone over for a couple of rounds, so I'll be covering for him. So give me a bit of notice, and I'll be more than happy to.
Brilliant. Superb. Yeah, thanks ever
To
so much.
our viewers, thank you very, very much for everyone who's watched, commented, joined in, etc. If you sign up with Matchbook, use that code Watchalong, £30 free bet if your first bet loses. But you're supporting the Watchalong boys. We don't actually get money for it, but it helps some sponsors.
What?
So it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So go on, use that code, boys. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Me and Pierre will see you again a week on Sunday live from Toaster. Thank you.
Ta-da.
Good
Yeah,
night, chaps.
Good night. Thanks, Barry. Ciao.
All the best.